keep God first. I see evil, when I converse.
Not today, say.
This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns.
Go, 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 go.
Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off. You living boring, I'm gonna set it off. Shooting, I'm scoring, I'm gonna set it off. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it off. Son of God, no, I am not son of man. Blessings keep falling, the fingers keep coming in. I got you, but just know I'm texting like Uncle Sam. Left to the bank, you know that I'm coming in. We don't do it for the bands though, we don't do it for the clout. Legacy on the line, so I'm moving in and out. Seen good ones turn top dog, greedy ones get knocked off. I keep looking at the bench like I could never not ball. Coach keep me in the game, Curry deadly with the range. I keep looking in the mirror like, who is he? I'm insane. Who am I? He insane. Guess I am the one to blame. What's done is done, won't change. Time to live up to my name. Real will be real, fake gon' fall. Took time with this here, I'm made for a while. No sleep in the while, I won't fall. No sleep in the while, I want it all. I keep God first. I see evil, when I converse.
Not today, say.
This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns.
Go, 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 go.
Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off. You living boring, I'm gonna set it off. Shooting, I'm scoring, I'm gonna set it off. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it off. Told my baby, meet me at the bank. Told my mama, I'ma break the trend. Locked in, I'ma change the weight. Working for my baby's kids. Hard times couldn't make the rent. Working hard, couldn't save a cent. Lonely nights, just me and God. Swear to him, always made the ends. Grab a paper, see the news. Hate coming by the tools. Walk a mile in my shoes. Something you can never do. Got my back against the wall. Bet I always pull through. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Sending shots, I block 'em. Superman with the moves. Rock 'em, sock 'em, drop, pop 'em. Play to win, never lose. Run it up, I top 'em. Play for belly too. I hip hop or pop 'em. Anything I could do. The real won't be real, fake gon' fall. Took time with this here, I made for a while. No sleep in the while, I won't fall. No sleep in the while, I want it all. I keep God first. I see evil, when I converse.
Not today, say.
This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns.
Go, 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 go.
Set it off. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it off. You living boring, I'm gonna set it off. Shooting, I'm scoring, I'm gonna set it off. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it off.
I can hurt you like you hurt me too, me too. We're letting go, rip it apart. We're letting go, rip it apart. I can hurt you like you hurt me too, me too. We're letting go, rip it apart. We're letting go, rip it apart. hurt me too, me too. We're letting go, we're letting go, we're I can hurt you like you hurt me too, me too. We're letting go, we're letting go, we're
What's up, everybody? Bula, happy Friday. Tama ni Bilo. Bula, everybody. Bula Kore.
Bula Benaka.
Bula Tui. Welcome to On the Mat. My name is Jonathan Bati Blue. Lava. Chaser with some espresso from Fresh Tea and Coffee.
Hey, what are you?
Mishi, go Tui. Your turn.
Happy birthday.
Guys, welcome. Thank you guys for coming today. We appreciate you all. Hope you guys had a good week. Bula Tui. So, for those of you who don't know, we're drinking kava. Stephanie, we just had a long work day, so I'm not even fully set up for this operation. Just give me 5 minutes. Yeah, hey dude, you want to plug that in? So, for those of you who don't know, we're drinking kava, which is, I guess it would be a traditional Fijian drink made from the root of the kava plant. So you dry it, you pull it, you dry it, pound it up into a powder, and then you squeeze it into water. It's probably a silly thing to talk about for a lot of people who are on the feed, but some people don't know.
Thank you.
So, what's going on? I'll start off with a question from TI_Allen. Yeah. What are you most thankful for in this season of your life? What am I most thankful for? And this is a good question for you guys to ask yourself too. I think, well, maybe this is because I've been talking about it lately and it's just at the top of my mind. But Shoot, dude. I got Stephanie's computer. No wonder it's dead. I think I'm most thankful right now for, and it's very simple, but it's just like everybody in my life is healthy. And like, because I think a lot of times like life can feel like it's, you know, it can be overwhelming or stressful, or you're not where you want to be yet, and things aren't getting done, and so it's sometimes, like this week especially, but sometimes it's just good to sit back and just consider like the simple things, because you realize very, very quickly once your kids are sick, or your spouse is sick, or you're sick, I'm talking physically, how much everything else like doesn't matter. There was a point, it was about a year and a half ago, where I got sick, like really sick for a couple weeks, and I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to be dying. Not like I was in a lot of pain or whatever, but my body was just deteriorating for like a week and a half, and then I was on the mend. But I was like, oh, okay, I really appreciate what it feels like to be normal, more than just having a cold. And I was like, yeah, I just want to be better. I don't care about work stuff or whatever. I was sleeping in the middle of the day. I had no energy, and I was like, yeah, having good health and those around you having good health is something to be hugely appreciative of. So I think right now in this season of life, I would just say like, I'm probably like just thankful for that everybody around me is healthy, because that will change one day. One day, my parents might pass away. I might get sick and pass away. Like one of like the guys like Roy or Tui, like anything can happen at any moment. And family members or my kids, like, I was listening to a podcast this week, and it was interviewing, it's Diary of a CEO. So for those of you who like want good stuff to listen to, that is one of my favorite podcasts of all time. And so it's called Diary of a CEO, or DOAC, if you're looking for podcasts. And he was talking to a gentleman who had a baby girl, and she passed away, I think 4 months in. She got like a really rare form of cancer. And so it was just, and now he's like an advocate for mental health and depression, like overcoming depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And so I was, impacted by that for sure this week, and just his mindset and how he got over it and moved forward. So, I'm definitely thankful for that. How about you two? What are you thankful for? This feels like Bible study. After two, then we'll go to Koroi.
Yeah, Koroi.
What do you guys think? We should get more of Koroi in this these, eh? Hey.
Oh, see.
See him.
Manager. Manager.
Yeah, anyways, I'm thankful for right now. I'm thankful for this season of my life.
Yeah?
Being here with you guys. This opportunity that I have.
You know what? Okay, fine. You get the raise. I'll give you the raise.
Yeah. Bro, when are you gonna give me the raise, man?
Yeah.
So,
After this, keep going. Keep going.
What's Polo? What's that?
Yeah, keep going.
Such the twins.
Yo!
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
After this is him.
It's great for this season. Fortunate to be part of this wonderful family, and to be part of the vision and the mission that you guys have. There's something about like starting something that I know that it's gonna be benefit the community and also me in the sense of like building my character up and experiences and opening doors for opportunities, and it's already been opening doors for me, and I'm thankful for that. So thank you for giving me the opportunity.
This wasn't supposed to be about me, but okay. You're welcome. I don't know. Thank you for taking the job. Thank you, Koroi,
Thank you very much.
doing what you're doing on the side here.
I'm thankful for Koroi as well. Thankful for his life. It's been such a great,
Blessing to us, eh?
Yeah,
I'm very thankful too to be here.
and to the team.
Koroi, what
What
did you
Koroi
have
is
on
like,
the chair over here? Why don't you show the people what you got here?
Hmm?
On the blue thing on the chair there.
Oh,
Yeah. Talk about it. Is it comfortable?
yeah.
Yeah. And they can get it where?
What?
Where can they get it? The coffee shop?
Yeah, the coffee shop down at Senganga.
Or online? So it's
Online.
snapback trucker cap, right? Authentic. And it's walkfarms.com/store. And you guys can also grab the shirt and the Sulu as well. So thank you, TI_Allen, for the question. Love to meet you one day. Ooh.
Yun na special to nga nung dila.
Hey, kung power eh. Ba't lagi? Wait eh.
Tinggal tu cuma tu matro kuli. Tinggal tu
So-
cuma tu.
I took some screenshots of some advice things that people wanted. Or some questions that I saw.
Questions on Facebook.
Okay, do you want to shoot? Yeah, give me
I
those.
sent you
On
on
WhatsApp? Okay. So what we try to do is like we try to talk about like, you know, what's going on in our lives, going on in current events. You guys send in questions for advice or for just, you know, talking points. What do I think of the war in Israel? What do we think about what's going on with healthcare or, you know, in politics, even though we don't like to get political, but like it's not hard to have an opinion without, you know, just choosing a side, right? And so submit your questions. You can go online on the story right now on Facebook or Instagram. We'll be doing this, like you guys join now, we'll be live for the next half hour to hour. And so you guys feel free to go on there if you guys ask a question, or actually just put in the comments here. You can see comments, right? That are coming in. So put in the comments if you guys want to chat about something. So chat about it, you know? Give us some good banter. It's Tuesday, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Friday. Throw another shrimp on the barbie. All right. And that's Australian. Have you ever thought of going into the cattle and sheep business? I am going into the cattle. Well, yeah, we did cattle. We just didn't do it right. And so what I mean by that is like we did it from afar. And just like anything in Fiji, like it's very hard to do it from afar. Unless you have family here that is managing it. And when I say family, it probably mean like a father, brother, sister. And even at that point, like it's very difficult. One of my mentors, you know, when he was part of one of the biggest brands in Fiji, still to this day. They have a very large, fancy building in Suva, and there's a food court on the top level. You guys might know what I'm talking about. Anyways, he was on the board of directors, and it was all brothers. And he wasn't one of the brothers. So he was the only non-family member on this board of directors, so he knew what he was talking about. And I phoned him, and I told him about what we wanted to do in Fiji and farm and all this stuff and business, and he said, love it. Love your initiative. Love what you're talking about. But call me when you guys actually move to Fiji. Until then, there's really no use having a conversation because of, you know, you'll go, you'll do something, you'll leave, things will change. Mokusinga, and, you know, like you won't be able to monitor what's going on. And so it's better for you to just talk to me when you actually move. So I did the cattle thing. What happened actually was we had a fence. We fenced off about, what would you say? How big do you think that is? 15 acres? 20 acres? Yeah. 20 acres? Yeah. And we fenced it all off. And then, you know, some of my uncles, my grandfather say, hey, can I put my female cow in there just to breed with some of your bulls? Put it in. Those ones have calves. They don't take it out and mixing with other people. And then eventually, like, they opened the gates. Some of them moved away. They opened the gates to kind of corral their cows together, and then all the cows came out of the fence. And so ever since that day, we've been chasing the cows around the countryside. And now they've mixed in with other villages' cows and other people in my village, like who let their cows just kind of roam, and they just go chase them every night, you know, like to corral them and put them in, you know, in the fence where they're supposed to be, because all the fences have holes in them. So anyways, my cows are mixed with other people's cows. I've killed cows inside my fence that didn't belong to me without me knowing. So when people want to buy a cow, so what happened specifically was there's gentlemen who wanted to buy a cow. Should I go into this?
Yeah.
And we went into my fence, and I just said, look, just because some of my cows were escaped, there was only like maybe half a dozen or something in the fence. And so I said, whatever you guys find, whatever you like, just shoot it. Like, It's all good. He was actually my landlord, so it's a good relationship. I was giving him a good deal. And so they found one, shot it. I was out in the jungle trying to find the rest of my cows. I came back, there was like 6 of them. It was for kurbani, so they like all split. They divide the meat, like share. $100 for you, $100. Like each family puts in.
Yeah.
And so I didn't ever even see the cow that they shot. I just knew it was just meat, right? And so they just loaded it up. I didn't even get out of the vehicle because I was emailing when I got back from chasing my cows around. Came out, and then apparently they had shot one of my uncle's bulls that was in our fence. And so I didn't know about that. And so that caused some problems, understandably so. But kind of like weirdly innocent at the same time. Like I just didn't know. It's like, but like also like, how can you not know? You shot an animal inside your fence. It's like, it's such a hard, but you guys understand what I'm saying. And so because of that, I've stopped all killing of cows, and I've just surrendered all of my cattle. There's probably 24. So it's not that many, but it's still probably like, 20 grand worth of cattle. I've just surrendered it to the wild.
Yeah, we
And-
don't want to like cause any conflicts. right?
Nah,
Yeah.
like, and I told my uncle, when he called me, I'm like, dude, I was like, dude, what's up, bro? I said, like, if you want to replace your cow, like 1 or 2, 3, like, or all, like, I don't want to, like, have any sort of family issues over cattle. Like, it's not worth it to me, And so I don't want any cattle if that means it was going to be a family issue. So we've refenced. We're taking the fence out. We're refencing. We're organizing, getting some new breeds in and new stock so that we can start fresh. And so I've got all the cattle tags. I've got the equipment to do the castration properly when like the bulls are born. And we're going to do it right this time. And so, but we're going to be, because it's quite a hilly area, we're going to be mixing, instead of cattle and sheep, we're going to do cattle and goats. This is simply because I have a friend who was a sheep farmer. He had about 700 sheep, which is, I think, the largest herd in Vanuatu at one point. And he said it was just like, people say, sure, yeah, do sheep. And it's like, man, sheep have so many diseases. And like, if you don't distribute them properly across the pasture, unlike goats, like once they start eating their own in the place where they've already pooped, they start getting really sick.
Oh.
And so you have to constantly medicate the sheep if you're doing it on a commercial scale, right? He said for those people who just have like, 10, 20, 30 sheep, it's not a big deal. But for people, man, it's hot, eh?
Today,
Like usually it's not like this right now.
Take off your shit.
Huh? And, but he said, he was saying like you should go for goats for that reason. What do you guys think? A lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people would rather go sheep.
half sheep, half goat.
Huh?
Half sheep
Yeah, I'll breed a sheep and a goat.
together.
And I'll get a shoat. Or a geep.
Don't
Jeep,
get
a jeep.
A jeep!
Get goats like my Indo neighbor friend from Goa. Get the goats, and then flood time comes, tie it all under the house.
Yo, mate. Yeah, okay, so tell that story. Tell that story.
You will.
We should turn the camera to you for the story.
I
Huh?
will just tell the story.
No, 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 no.
fair,
Yeah, not fair. Hey,
I'll tell the story from there.
guys, do you want to see Tui's
Good talk,
face?
Shut up. So yeah, anyways, it was TC Anna, right? Oh,
Yeah.
no, TC Yasa.
Dude, turn the camera so that
no,
the people want to see your lovely face.
Turn it.
Shush. Anyways,
Turn it.
so the story was during TC Asa, he had like
Yeah,
like I think like 20 or 30 goats,
yeah.
and then.
Wait,
no,
Okay. Come on. Hey, come on. Yeah. Here we go. There he is.
Bloody elephant.
We talked about elephant last time.
Oh man.
Okay.
Anyways,
Yeah.
so he had like 20 to 30.
Turn the camera. Yeah, we did it. Thank you, Luisa.
He had like 20 to 30 goats, and then there was like warnings of like floods and like the cyclone that was coming. So
Protect my goats.
yeah, so he's like, there's gonna be a lot of wind. So the
Win.
most safest way to do it is tied under the house. So he had like long posts, those wood
Yeah,
houses.
right.
So he tied all these 20 to 30 goats under his house.
And then he just waited for the cyclone to pass by. So he was in the house, you know, because it's solar. He couldn't like see outside. It was really dark.
Oh,
and he
yeah.
can't go outside because of the wind. It's blowing the wind. Morning time comes. He got out of his bed. And he notices the water was like halfway through his
And his house is high.
And his house was high. After 2 days, like, you see like the people like walking past we were like walking past the road. He's under the house like pulling all these dead goats from the house.
Shoot, that's not funny, man.
Yeah, it was sad. It was sad.
Poor guy. He just lost all of his cattle, man. Shoot. Man, that's rough. And so, what did you guys do with the goats? Curry.
Well, because he's a Muslim, so well.
Oh, they can't. It's not halal, eh?
Yeah, so buried it.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Just help with the burden.
So
Normally he's in the chat.
yeah. So actually, Norm, I didn't know this before, but Rottweilers. Okay, so Rottweilers, which Harley is, were originally bred in Germany for milkmen who delivered, like in lots of Western cultures, they consume milk, and like it was consumed every morning, right? It's like a part of your breakfast. And so you would get fresh milk brought to your house every day. So being the milkman is like a very common thing back in those days. And so, you know, modern days up until, you know, the last probably 20 years, which doesn't happen anymore, they would deliver it on a truck. Before that, in Germany at least, the milkman would connect a cart to a Rottweiler, and the Rottweiler would drag the cart around town, and they would deliver milk. So it was kind of like a small bulmokao, I guess, with like a casita or something. Or not a casita, what? Bulgari. Like a wagon behind a cow, but it'd just be a wagon behind a... Yeah, and so along with that, they were also primarily used for the herding of cattle. And so you do see it in Harley, like his instincts when we get around cows, like his automatic...
Start running around.
Yeah, he'll like, you know, but he doesn't have any technique, but like he wants to chase and like corner them.
Tried to kill one cow up there.
Yeah.
It was tied to a tree. Oh no, we were just trying to pull it close, and it pulls away. And
Yeah.
like when you still in Canada.
I was still in Canada, yeah, right?
And then I went with Harry.
Oh,
And he just start running behind that cow. When it runs on the like left side, went that side. When it
Oh.
comes right this side.
really?
Until the cow came close, and then we tied to the tree.
No way. What? And he was like guiding
Yeah,
it to
behind
you.
the cow.
Naturally. See?
I was just calling back because he went too close to the cow,
Yeah.
almost to the legs.
Yeah, let me see. Wow. So there you go. So yeah, so Harley, his breed is actually, they were originally used for the herding of cattle. You don't really think of Rottweilers like that. You usually think of Rottweilers as guard dogs and like big, mean kind of, big, mean dogs. So, yeah.
I got a question.
Okay.
From Samsky.
Samsky.
Bula from Sydney, Australia.
What's up,
I
Samsky?
watched one of your vlogs where you went out fishing but ended up getting fish poisoning. How was the whole experience of it all? How to know if a fish is poisonous?
So, I mean, there's, you know, people sometimes put coins in the soup, like where they're boiling it, and if it turns a certain color, then it's poisonous. Some people will say, like, you know, if you serve a fish and no flies come and land on the fish, that means that it's also poisonous. Like if there's flies around, which, you know, a lot of times there is, and they're landing on all the other food, and usually, like, if you have fish, there's going to be flies, right? And so, but if you have a fish and the flies are everywhere but on the fish, that might be a sign that the fish is poisonous. So again, I saw somebody comment on one of the things that we posted the other day about like how to tell if, you know, there's a bad cyclone, like natural signs, and he was like, oh, it's all BS, basically. It's all like confirmation bias. And so, yeah, you know, some of these things are definitely confirmation bias. Like, you know, you want to see it, or like the hurricane comes and it's like, yeah, boy, because I remember before the hurricane, the uto tree had lots of breadfruit on it, like heavy breadfruit. So now we know that's a sign of bad hurricanes because there was a lot. So we're like reverse engineering like the logic behind the thing that happens. And so what is actually true, but like it's what we can say for sure is that like certain areas have more cicatera than other areas, and so there's fish that you like say like a mesa or like that's like a Maori sea perch, I think. We call it mesa, at least in this part of Honolulu. And in Sabsabu, if you eat those fish, it's almost like 100% you're gonna get fish poisoning. Yeah. But we eat them on this side all the time, on the north side of the island, and like coral trout, small like parrotfish, any reef fish is very dangerous. Usually, most of the time in Sabsabu, and that is because these fish eat an algae called cicatera that's on the reefs, and then that is then consumed by you. And so cicatera usually, from what I understand, talking to people who are much smarter than me, like my friend Wet Mammal Sam. He has an awesome YouTube channel, by the way, and Instagram. So if you guys like spearfishing and stuff like that, go check him out, Wet Mammal. But he was explaining to me that these fish will eat it, then you'll eat the fish that have the cicatera bacteria, virus, bacteria, I think. And like you can eat it, but you won't necessarily get poisoned. So like cicatera will it'll build up, and you have like everybody has like a different level to which they can handle. And so you might eat like a really poisonous fish, but it might not take you to the level of like over the top. But then you might just have like one small rindri or one small like parrotfish or something, and it might just have a little bit, and it'll just take you from under the line, just top it up, and then that'll finish you off. And so your body actually like stores it, and then you'll just have one little fish, and you're like, oh my gosh, that one is so poisonous. But it's not really that way. It's more you just build up, and then you just have one too many. So that's some bro science for you over here.
From Leon Mari.
Yeah.
Kia ora, na brothers.
Kia ora.
Cyclone, our elders said to watch the trees and plants. Yeah.
Watch the trees and plants, yeah. I know some people, well, I guess we're going away. What was the question about the fish? How to tell if it's poisonous? Yeah, so that's kind of what I know. And so I would just primarily know by like, where did this fish come from? I know like what the breed of fish is, what species of fish it is, or not breed.
How was the experience though that we had?
Yeah, so before I go on to the experience though, I'm going to show you guys something actually. I don't know, can people see my phone if I hold it up here?
Yeah.
I'm just going to...
Normally says there is enough poison in one puffer fish to kill 30 adult humans, and there is no known antidote.
Wow, eh? Yeah, so I know lots of people like Nurua, like on this side, they eat pufferfish. They just know how to clean it. They also eat dambea, like the, what do you call it? The eel, like, oh, what is it called? This is one of the rare moments where I know the Fijian word, but not the English word. The eels, the scary, moray eel. Yeah. And so they just clean it, like when you cut a fish open, you guys know, like when you look at it from, like if you open up the stomach, on the bottom of the spine, there's usually blood, right? And so they really clean out that part very well. They don't really do anything special, take out the guts, but they take all of that blood out of that bloodline that's on the bottom of the spine. Ouch. Step on your finger. So, shameless plug right here. Turn up the brightness. Yeah. Can people see this?
Yeah.
Right there. So this is also from Wet Mammal. So if you guys, like I was saying, I know just the breed or the species of the fish and like where it's come from. That's how I'll know to like, know if it's like, oh, I'm definitely staying away from that. Like if it's a walu or like say a blue fin trevally or something from Sabsabu, I eat it all day, every day of the year. But if it's like what?
Can you do the ball?
Pump it?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ask Mom to bring the pump, which is behind that door, I'll pump it up, yeah.
Mom.
And so, but on his Fiji fish identification guide, he's done all of the write-ups, and then his girlfriend actually, Diver Mon Art, you can find her on Instagram, has done all the illustrations and the descriptions of every fish, shark, turtle, like that not every, but most of the ones that we see when we're diving on the reef. And so it's very cool. And then he tells us like if it's like really prone to ciguatera or not. I'll go down to the fish. Yeah. So what do we got here? I'm looking at the reflex. This is a bluefin trevally.
Yeah.
And so what's cool about this? So I'll go to a bluefin. Where is it?
Normally, when the eel hits your eye, that's a moray.
When the wind is
So-
yeah, right. Golden. So this I couldn't find the bluefin one. So golden trevally, right? And sometimes you guys will go to the market and be like, "What is the name of this in Fijian?" So what Sam did was he actually put like all the English names and then all the known Fijian names that he could find. So I think these are Vilu, right? Yeah. And then, so there's an English name and then the Fijian name and the description of the fish and like how risky it is to ciguatera. So if you guys go on wetmammal.com, anyway, search wet mammal Fiji fish identification guide. You can go and download his PDF. It's $20, but if you use the code BULA, it's free for everybody in Fiji. So just go to the coupon. Just stay there, I'll pump it from here. Or you can sit here. I just thought it was really cool how he put all that effort in and then he gave it away for free. So it's really helpful. Like I know people who have used it. They're like, thank you for posting about that. I've used this in the market, you know, to know if like I should be careful of these fish or like what is the fish called, and like because okay, for instance, something simple like you know sometimes your grandma or your uncle will say go to the market and look for vilu, say like you know, or sila sila, right? And when you go to the market, you're like, what am I looking for? So you can go on here, search sila sila, and you'll see it. Oh, that's just like a small barracuda. And so a lot of people just don't, like even like young Fijian people don't know the names of fish, right?
Yeah.
It's hard. There's so many. So that helps with the fish identification and knowing ciguatera stuff. Good? All right, have fun, buddy.
Question
Yep.
from Luisa McGoon.
How many people do you have on? Or a little bit? Yeah. Thank you guys for joining, by the way. We have fun doing this kind of stuff. Taki.
Bula from Tambua Bula family in Lami.
Wula.
Do you have plans into exporting your produce later on overseas markets?
Yeah, 100%. I think that once we unlock like the exporting side of things, we're going to do the biggest thing that's ever been done, at least in Vanuatu. Because what happens when we do the exporting is I'll have a processing facility which employs people, and then you know with the processing, the packaging, the exporting, so we'll need logistics managers, but then it'll also more than that, it'll provide income for thousands of people who will bring their produce to us. And in the beginning, it'll probably simple stuff, probably like cassava, dalo, turmeric, dango, whatever you want to call it, haldi. The things that really grow well that we can grow in mass quantities and be consistent with. And so I think that in itself, there's so much, at least in the Sanganga area, probably I would say from like Lambasa down to like Nasarwenge. There's a lot of unused land, like land that's already been cleared that needs to just be, you know, it's all, you know, old cane farm, stuff like that. Just needs to be replowed, burned, replowed, and it can be planted. And so for that reason, I think that once we unlock the exporting thing, get the processing facility set up, it would be the best thing or the biggest thing, at least agriculture-wise, that'll happen on this island. Yeah.
Question
Yeah.
on Facebook. My farm is in Tanravula near Sanganga, and I raise cattle and sheep and plant crops like you. I was wondering whether you've considered
Tanravula.
whether you've considered having a sheep cattle farm. Okay, I think we answered this.
Yeah, so I mean, he just asked that question.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing the cattle farm. We're bringing in a new breeder bull from Sabsawu, and we'll just have to find a good female to breed with. And we've got 100 acres that we're sectioning off into quarters, so that we can shift the cows around, you know, so we can, you know, the grass can regrow and we can shift them around properly. So that'll have to be done with like good mineral blocks, you know, for them to like have some salt licks, good water supply, which we have over there, and feed. So like we're planting lots of cassava at the moment, and so like I see like, you know, in the dry season when things aren't growing very well, like, you know, a lot of that cassava will just take over to the cows, and that'll be good feed starch for them. And so we'll be mixing them with goats instead of sheep. That's what I plan on right now, just because my friend is a big farmer. He used to be a big sheep farmer, gave up on it because it was a lot of work, because sheep are very prone to disease, especially once you start doing it at scale. So we're going to go with goats instead. Yeah.
Question.
But Bula, shout out to Tandrahula, Vodafone Tower.
Question from Banove. Love your Sulu though. Is that from your Waka Online? Interested. Bula from Newington, Sydney.
New where?
Is it Newington?
Okay, Newington.
Sydney.
Okay, Sydney. Must be like a suburb. The burbs of Sydney. Yeah, so this is part of our apparel drop that we did, the Waka Sulu. And so maybe I should explain like one of the features of the Sulu. What do you think?
Yeah.
Like what it means to us?
Yeah, sure.
I've talked about the circle before. Maybe I'll talk about like a different piece of the pattern. Which part should I talk about? So I'll stand up, I guess. So you have this part, which we talked about in the past, like this, the circle. And so, story in the Bible, very quickly, where Jesus, these guys want to kill this lady, and Jesus is like, you know, for those of you who have not committed no sin, can you still see me?
Yeah.
Throw the first stone. And then he bends down and writes something in the sand, and nobody knows what he actually drew, but it's believed that he drew an Istis circle, which is a Jewish 8-sided circle for God. You see that, I think, in the Israeli flag, right? Which signifies Christ at the center of everything. And so this is like our Fijian version of the Istis circle. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-sided circle that represents Christ at the center of everything for our company. So the decisions we make say, like, you know, if you want to be a leader, you have to serve, because we see, you know, in the Bible that like Jesus was a servant and he led by example. So you don't just get to tell people what to do. That's not how we do things. And so that's kind of one of the examples of where we put Jesus at the center. So this design here, so like it all kind of like meshes together, right? Like it looks like one normal like tapa design or masi, but like this design, I'll explain more about the design later, but this particular one, this up and down, reflects the like the ups and downs in life, like spiritual and physical. And so yeah, just like we wanted to make something that was really relevant to like obviously my culture, our culture. But this like up and down, we decided like, yeah, you know what, like the ups and downs of life, right? And like the good times and the bad times. And so like yeah, just like the mindset that we need to have in hardship, you know, just to persevere. And so that's what that part of the design means to us at our brand, you know, and for our brand. And so Jesus at the center of everything. This is always in the middle of every design that we do. And then this one in particular represents the ups and downs of life. This part here, this is actually part of more, but there is, if you actually look at our, I mean, I guess if you look at this represents like, I guess like the ocean. Like, because we have like our physical surroundings. So forest and ocean. This one in particular is the ocean that surrounds our nation. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that kind of random? I hope that.
Yes, by the way, we sell them.
Yeah, and so we sell them. wakafarms.com/store.
We do shipping as well.
And I think they might actually, I gotta retie this actually. I think they might actually be sold out soon. I think we might have a couple left. So I think we're gonna reorder. Shirts are pretty much sold out. Sulas are pretty much sold out. So that's been pretty awesome. Thank you guys for that.
Thanks for explaining your soul design. Nice and unique.
Yeah. So there's different things that we don't have on here, but maybe we'll explain it in the next live. Okay? like as far as our design.
Question.
Hmm.
Krishnil Naidu, Bula, would you consider doing ginger farming?
Yeah, so we've talked about this in the past as well. I would pick turmeric over ginger because turmeric is a lot more of like a specialty item, and it's a big hit with the cafe scene overseas. And I think that would be the target. That should be anybody's target with Fijian turmeric, is to not compete with like India. India is the biggest exporter of turmeric around the world. We cannot compete with their logistics and their ability to like do things at huge scale. I mean, they got like 1 billion people almost in their country, right? And so it's very hard to compete with that. What we do is what we need to do, someone needs to do, me or you, is do something like Fiji water and make turmeric sexy. Make it exotic, organic Fijian turmeric that, you know, fancy soccer moms in California want to go to the special cafe because they have organic Fijian turmeric lattes.
Right.
And so that's what I think needs to be done. Why would I pick turmeric over ginger? Just because of the labor cost involved, because like we've talked about before, although they're both very similar in appearance and in the same family, when you propagate ginger, you put it in the ground, you bury it, but it grows up. Ginger grows up. And so you have to continually hill it, or kudari, you know, whatever means you do to like keep covering it so that it doesn't get sunburned, right? Turmeric, on the other hand, when you bury it and you want to propagate it, grow more of it, it grows down. So your labor costs are much less for turmeric. So that is why I would go with turmeric. And also ginger, yeah, turmeric's more special in the way that like with ginger, you want to export it to say Australia. Well, Australia grows ginger. So like we've talked about in the past, it's hard to export a product or fresh raw product to a country that is able to produce it because there's so many protections. They have so many protections around their own. They don't want to get ginger disease from Fiji into Australia and damage all the crops for the ginger farmers in Australia, right? So that's another reason why I would choose turmeric. I'm not saying like I know everything. I'm just saying like that's what I would do. So you guys might be able to tell me a better way. Those are just my reasons. So I'm an idiot. So I don't know.
From Meli Silimbaravi, Bulasia from Octopus Resort in Yasawa.
Oh.
Saw that you visited my home island in Cavella.
Oi.
Love watching your videos. Just one question. Why don't you guys try vanilla farming?
Why don't we try vanilla farming? We might one day. The problem with vanilla farming is in Fiji we don't have the right, from what I understand, we don't have the right bees to pollinate the flowers of at the right time when the plants are flowering. So with vanilla, you actually have to go around and pollinate every flower. So like you have to have somebody who goes out every morning while your vanilla plants are flowering and like finding the new flowers and like pollinating them by hand. And so in other countries, they actually have like bees that are around at that time of the year that will bring in the right pollen for your vanilla plants to make them produce the vanilla pods. So it's a very labor intensive job. Yes, vanilla is worth a ton of money if you're able to do it right. But up until this point, I found myself pulled in many different directions. And so vanilla farming, yeah, I guess it just hasn't made sense at the moment. And so yeah, we may in the future, but it's just, I just want to say like it just is a very labor intensive job. And I don't, so I look at stuff in life, it's like people say you should do something and it's like, okay, show me a rich one of those. For instance, like people are like, "Boo, honey, lots of money. Honey's expensive. You should do honey farming." And I'm like, show me a rich honey farmer. Like, I don't know one. Like, I know rich guys who have hardware stores. I know rich guys who have bus companies. Guys who do like digital marketing. But like, I don't understand anything about honey, so I'd have to learn it. And then replicate somebody who's not where I want to be. And so I guess that's all farming too. Like I don't know any rich. So maybe my logic doesn't work because I don't know any rich like yam farmers, but I try to plant yam. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously it just doesn't interest me that much, the honey or the vanilla at the moment. But I know rich people got rich off sandalwood. or I know people who have planted lots of, and like this is like more like where we go with the sandalwood stuff, because that is our main goal in Fiji, is to plant sandalwood. But my main goal, and what I understand Patterson Shipping did, was they have a big sandalwood farm, right? And so what he did to purchase some of his boats, like they have a shipping company in Fiji, is they borrowed against their sandalwood farm to get the money for buying the ships. They bought ships. So they planted trees. People came and said, wow, that's worth a lot of money. And he's like, well, lock you in. So when the trees are ready, you buy, give me the money. And he goes and buys ships and then makes more money. And so that's what I would probably do with some of the sandalwood farm, is use it as debt leverage to go and do something else that would make more money while the trees are growing. So, yeah.
Rupeni Rawati Day, very interesting and powerful when you put God first in everything you choose success.
Yeah, 100%. It has to be. I mean, it's not like it's so nice to just be able to look at the Bible and be like, hey, yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. Done. Because like you see Instagram reels and blah blah blah, and all this business advice and all this stuff, and it's like, well, what would Jesus do? It's like, okay, he did it this way. Okay, done. Don't have to talk about it anymore. Hey, Steph, Leanie went down. Okay. I was just killing time. I just said 5 minutes. That's fine.
Hello, brothers, watching from Solomon
Tell me
Islands.
about it. Yeah, I'll just talk to her. What up? Thank you for watching.
Normally, November is crabs, Walu, Kavika, apple season. December is Bulay Nunga Laylay season, small Nunga rabbit fish.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't know that. I didn't know that actually, but like you're like as you're listing things off, I'm like, yeah, Kavika, Walu, yeah. What do you say? Balolo? What?
Apple season.
Apple?
Small Nunga rabbit fish.
Nunga.
And crabs.
Okay. So, well, I still got some more messages. One thing I wanted to do, I guess she left, but one of my, and I don't know who this will apply to, maybe nobody. One of my cousins, anyways, is moving to New Zealand in next week, and young teenage girl, I won't name her, but I actually had wanted her to sit behind, because I'm gonna go and have this conversation with her afterwards anyways, but I wanted her to just sit behind the camera so I could just talk to her and you guys could kind of like, be a fly on the wall. It's okay, don't worry about it. Yeah, whatever. I just wanted to talk to her about, the move that is upcoming, in her life. Being a teenage girl, going to, a new place. Just because I'm not like a wise sage or anything, but part of my life was like being uprooted every 4 years, going to a place where I didn't know anybody. And in those days, like a lot of my friends, like I don't know them anymore. Like all of my best friends that I had in Africa, like that was a time when there was no social media. There was no mail system in that country. And so that's hard on a kid, just getting up, leaving and saying goodbye to like your very best friend, and you're never going to see them again, ever. I don't even know how to find these guys, like it was right after Civil War, like, and they were my world. Like that was, I was, I was, 4 to 8 years old, like Leakey's age, right? So maybe there's somebody who's thinking of moving overseas and taking their kids, or maybe moving to Fiji, bringing your kids, or maybe you're a kid who's listening to this. I don't know. What I was going to say to her anyways was just like, and this is my mentality with stuff, is like, don't expect it to be easy, because it won't be easy. Because all you know is this place. And like this place is like, it's beautiful and it's quiet, but it's familiar. And I think you don't realize how comfortable you are until you leave, and how much you took like your friends for granted, and the fact that like you knew everybody in your community for granted. And being a teenage girl moving to a Western culture has the potential to be really isolating and really difficult, because I was a teenage boy and I was never a teenage girl, obviously. And but I saw how brutal it was to be a teenage girl, at least at my schools where I went to in Canada. And it wasn't even a bad school. And so it takes a different mindset, you know, to know that, like, hey, you're going with your family, your dad's already there, you're gonna go to school and you're not gonna know anybody, and you're gonna feel embarrassed because you don't know how to speak the language properly, you know, like you feel like you could just joke around, like, man, they might make fun of me if I say something weird because their English is so good. But you can't be ashamed, because eventually you're just gonna have to, like, step out of your shell. And you're gonna go to school, and the girls are gonna be ruthless. Teenage girls are ruthless. I'll tell you that right now. They're mean, and they say mean things. But, like, you know who you are. You know, this is me talking to her, right? But, like, you know yourself, and you know where your father's from, and you know where you belong, and you know how we feel about you. And so, like, never forget that, like, you know, the place where you're from, you're always, like, appreciated, and you're always, like, welcome here. Because you will go to school and you might get bullied. People might say things to you, you might feel uncomfortable and not want to say things back. You might, you know, you'll probably be quiet a lot. I was quiet a lot because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was cool. Because I'd say things like, okay, sweet, I'm like, we're rolling now. They're kind of like bringing me into the group, you know, over this lunch period, and I'll say something, and they're like, dude, this kid is weird. And I'll be like, oh, shoot, back to ground zero again. I'm just the weird kid. I'm the weird kid who, like, you know, has a Canadian mother and a Fijian father and lives in Africa. Or, like, you know, just moved from Africa after my most, like, important developmental years, and now I live in Canada. And I'm, like, trying to be cool. And you're going to come home, you know, to a quiet house. And you're going to go on your phone and just look at social media and just see this place, see pictures of, you know, all the people that you're familiar with. Because Western culture is very different. The place where you live probably has a fence. And your parents might not know their neighbors. Their neighbors might not want you to know them. And they won't ask you in for tea. I'm saying this stuff because I think in life a lot of times we expect to be happy. Whereas if, like, happiness is, like, usually the default thing in life, when it's actually really not. Like, life is actually usually hard. And it's typically a struggle. And so if we, you know, like when you go to a movie, you see a trailer and, like, it's like, oh, this movie's gonna be so sick, you know, like, I can't wait to watch this movie. And you go, you see, like, all the trailers, right? You look at, like, you see the one, you see two, you see three, and by that time, basically, you know, with all modern day movies, they're mostly horrible. You've seen the whole movie, right? And you go to the movie, you're like, yes, popcorn. And then you watch the movie, you come out, you're like, man, that wasn't that good. Whereas if, you know, your wife drags you to a movie, I'm not saying this ever happened to me, but maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. And you're like, okay, so we'll go to this movie. And then you go to it, you're like, dang, that was actually a really good movie. Not bad, not bad. Because you went in with low expectations. And so I feel like expectations for me were, like, a big thing in my life. And, like, not expecting much from the collective group of, like, my peers. But finding, like, one or two people that I could trust, that, you know, I could build that relationship with. Because I didn't have all this history with people. And so my strength came from having the ability, and this is something that Fijians are not good at, is, like, going deep and cutting, like, to the personal issues, like right now. We hold on to things for, like, a long time, longer than necessary, to share things that maybe are like, oh, that's a dark, dirty secret that I have, you know? Or so that's a struggle that I have. And, like, but, like, not realizing that, like, when you share that thing, that just, if you're the person who is, like, the most open in the relationship, you become the initiator of friendship. And the people who initiate friendship are the people who usually end up being the leaders. And so it's funny because like, I came to my high school, I just ended up being really good at making friends because every 4 years I was like uprooted and had to move, right? Make new friends, uprooted, go make new friends. Like, oh, they're my best friend for 3 years and I'll see you later. Peace, bro. And so I went back to my school, grade 10, and then by my high school year, I was like the student council president. And so I was like organizing like the assemblies, and then I would do all the speeches and everything like that. And it wasn't because I was an A+ student. That's not how they grade it. It's not like a prefect thing. It's like, it's like voted on by your peers and the teachers. They pick like who is the most like, person who makes the most sense to do the job. And so that was me in my grade 12 year, which is really weird because I was only there for 3 years, right? Like there's kids who were there from kindergarten to grade 12, you know? That was a kindergarten to grade 12 school. It wasn't like a primary school we went to separately and then we came to the secondary. And so if you have the ability to like cut deep and to have meaningful conversation, like you all of a sudden take charge of, the room. The ability for somebody to be real and to be vulnerable is like one of the greatest strengths I think that anybody can have as far as like, a leadership quality behind ownership, but to be able to like be real and be true with people. So yeah, finding a few close friends and expecting for life to be hard and not easy, that would be, I think, probably the most important advice that I could give to you, person who's not sitting here, but will be moving. And so I'll go have this conversation with her later. And it's just because, like, I care. And, like, I just feel like people, as parents, I'm speaking as a parent, we'll move to New Zealand, we'll move to like, Australia or Canada or the USA, we'll take our kids. And it's actually, like, completely selfish in a way. And, we just, kids are flexible and they'll fit in wherever you put them, right? But, we have each other, like, as parents, right? Like, a lot of times, like, you're a dad and you've gone ahead and your wife and your kids are going to be coming behind. And it's like, yeah, this is great. I'm excited. Me and my wife are finally going to be together. Yeah, but your kids aren't. Or your kid isn't. Like, you're going to send them to school where they know nobody. You get to work with a bunch of people that you probably speak the same language because they probably bought in a bunch of Fijians for this working program or whatever. So you get to go hang out with people who have, like, cultural relevance. Yeah. Well, you send your kid to a school where they're, like, the kids are, like, Maori and white. Or whatever it is, Or American kids, in Black American culture. It's like, we have no relevance with that. We don't fit in there, And so I think, like, man, parents got to be so intentional with their kids and look after them well. Like, and I don't mean like safety, but also like checking in with them and having those, and taking the leadership role and having those important conversations with them. Yeah. Anyways, maybe I'm boring people.
Well, you mentioned that. I would know where you're coming from because of the past incident that happened with my family and my uncle and his son.
Oh,
yeah. So,
he was over there.
Yeah. So, just like what you're saying, like he has his group already, a bunch of Fijians, and he's the kid that's been left at home.
Right.
And in this society where everything is just influenced by social media and the Western culture, and being alone in a place where it's not your home, right?
Yeah.
You get isolated in your mind, and these thoughts of evil like creeps into your mind with being left alone with no family. Things can happen.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with my cousin brother who lost his life last year. So I totally know where you're coming from.
Yeah, that was hard, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a hard season in our family's life
Mm.
last year. So still fresh in our minds.
Yeah.
Every day
Mm.
we get to talk about it.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, so mental health, like, you gotta look out for your kids' mental health. I will finish by saying this. That, like, the one great thing about not belonging is the opposite side of that. Is that, like, actually belong... And for me, my, like, one of the greatest things that ever happened to my, like, conscience or to my mindset was, like, because I don't belong, means I actually belong anywhere. Because I don't belong anywhere, I belong everywhere. So when I go to, like, you know, I grew up around a lot of, like, you know, First Nations kids. There's a lot of, like, reserves, First Nation reserves around where we live in Canada. So I could be the white kid, make all, you know, fit in with all the white guys. But then I could also go and, like, hurl, like, what would be a racist remark at, like, my buddies who are Native American or, like, you know, or First Nations, and, like, totally fit in. And then I go, when I realized that, I'm like, oh, I can be Mexican, I can be Spanish, I can be East Indian, because people don't know what I am. And so my greatest strength was actually, like taking advantage of the fact that, like, oh, you can't put me in a box, right? Because, like, you don't know how to, like, classify me. And so, like, that means that, like, I get to be whoever I want to be to you. And so because of that, like, I ended up being, like, you know, when I was selling automotive service, like, you know, I worked in a shop with really high-end cars. I just actually had this thought the other day. I was like, man, remember this time when I went and picked up this $1.2 million Porsche from this guy's house to drive to a car show? And my boss, like, gave me the keys to his house and, like, had a button to his gate. And I'm like driving down the road. I'm like a, you know, 20-year-old, like, you know, half caste, you know? And I was just, like, driving down the road. $1.2 million, like, 1970s Porsche Targa, lime green. It was early morning because I had to get it to the car show. I'm like, go to his house, like, open, like, mansion. Like, his compound's like the size of this place, but in the city. Dude. Go in, garage button, and this car is there, 1.2 mil. I'm like, all right, here we go. And, like, it's just a car. And then I was driving down the road, and, like, the sun is, like, just starting to come up. I'm like, holy shoot, you know? Like, this is what you get when you just, like, you have the ability to just be whoever you decide to be. And, like, that's what I would say to my cousin is, like, you get to be whoever you want to be. Like, this loneliness that you will experience, you need to harness it to become, you know, a new person. Because, like, you can't be who you are here over there. It doesn't work anymore. And that's, like, when I come from Canada, I come to Fiji, it's like, that's why I'm so, like, oh, why do we do things this way? Questioning everything, which is really frustrating for a lot of people, and it frustrates me that I can't just look at something and just be satisfied. But, like, now you get to go and do that in New Zealand, and you get to become a new person. Because, like, don't just be this person, but, like, now you have the ability to be a Fijian to the Fijians. You're an islander to all the islanders. You guys will find a new community, One Talks. You know, you'll be, like, brothers and sisters with the Samoans and the Tongans over there. You get to be a new person with new relationships. And so for me, that was like, I was country to the people who were cowboys, you know? I was city to the people who worked in corporate. I was, you know, I had old references from talking with my grandma to the people who were elderly. And so, yeah. Because you don't belong, you now belong everywhere. It's a huge rant, but...
Like when he says, I get that over here too. Some think I'm South American, Caribbean until they ask, then they go, where's that?
Right, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I think people have such a hard time. So anybody who's watching, like, for people who have a hard time, like, asking, like, where somebody's from without, like, oh, I don't want to be racist. Like, what's your heritage? That's what I find is, I have no hesitation to ask people where they're from just because I say it like that. What's your heritage? And people are usually like, oh, yeah, my heritage, like, my mom is this, my dad is this, and da-da-da.
He also says just hope to come home soon and love to come and experience and witness the Waka experience by actually touching the office and getting to see it with my own eyes.
There you go.
Bulakai koroi. Levani wi tamani.
Belum naka.
Oh yeah.
Tadi taksar ko yung kay Levani.
So
The person here asked, okay, yeah, where is Koroi from? Where is
yeah,
From
Kron
heaven,
is
from
to
Lomalangi.
Yeah.
Black Angel.
Lomaibiti, Lomalangi.
Yeah, so Ratu, where is Koroi from?
Koroi.
is from
Moturiki.
Moturiki, island of Moturiki.
Hindi ba ito kung tala talaga?
Yeah,
Saray mo
sige,
ng gulo.
Okay.
So can you explain this quickly? Like, for if you had to explain Moturiki in
Yeah,
30
okay.
seconds, what would you say to somebody? Where is Moturiki? If somebody doesn't know.
Oh. Moturiki is located beside Overlow Island. Moturiki is between Overlow and Vitilew.
So there's an island. Is it Leluvia?
Yeah.
That's close to you.
Yeah.
That's a resort, right?
Yeah.
Resort. Yeah.
He says, oh, Levani, kayaw may burreta. Tay.
Belum na kay.
Yeah, taksar mo kay.
That's in
So-
Moturiki.
No, that's in Overlow, like fishing Moturiki.
Oh.
Where the airstrip is.
That's the airport. Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. Oi. Oh, was he in the chat last time?
Yeah.
Yeah, asking about the farm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Levani.
What's up, Levani? Yeah, thank you for joining. And so, what is Moturiki known for? Like, if there's like one thing you guys were known for,
Known for yang kon.
or like, what is your position in like the in the culture? Like, what was your guys' roles in the? Because you guys are close to Bao, right?
Bao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what were you guys?
Oh, us. Like if there's no Univalu, to Kamba.
King.
The leader of the Kumbuna Federation.
Okay.
We'll like make we give the Angon to the Rock Timbao. We made the Rock Timbao. And the Rock Timbao will make the Univalu to
Oh, okay.
give them bill to the Univalu to come.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Like from us to the Rock Timbao and the Rock Timbao to Univalu.
So when you say like you bring the Yangona,
No, like we make the
you will do the whole
Yeah, the whole
mixing.
ceremony.
Yeah. And
one
then
ceremony.
and then who will serve? You guys will serve it to him.
To the Rock Timbao will be sitting on top.
Okay. But that's in the absence of a
Yeah,
Univalu.
Univalu.
oh,
After we did that, then the Rock Timbao will
appoint.
appoint the.
So this is like after the Univalu pass away. Say,
Yeah, like the
when
new
he
one.
dies.
If they're gonna make a new one,
Yeah.
if there's no Rock Timbao, they can make the Univalu or make
Oh.
one Univalu.
So does he choose the Rokotumbao? Does he choose who's gonna be? Or that's all in a family line.
Yeah, in the family line. Whoever's
Okay.
elder,
Yeah.
the eldest there.
Interesting. Okay. Sorry guys, I'm just asking questions. Then.
Dad saying to check your phone.
Huh?
Dad,
Check my phone.
check your phone. Kito na tuni mata. Kakwa, Levani. I was born over here but raised back home. Kito na
Ito na
kaiway.
side ni nunguna.
Hmm.
Nandito tumatin ka itong pasarangan ni Burata ni family Muturiki.
Hmm.
Yeah, when they come to Muturiki,
Yeah.
like my mother's side is their house or their door, the house they're gonna enter. They can't enter any house.
Any other houses?
Yeah.
Just like
Just
us.
like
us,
when
yeah.
we went to Vesundrua, you go
Yep.
to that house.
Yep.
Yeah, when they from Burata come to Muturiki, they'll come to my like mother's side.
Oh.
From there to the shop finish, then they can go where they
Oh.
go.
Okay. That's the channel.
Yeah.
I was always main dako.
Hmm.
He's saying.
Ndaku.
What does that mean in Fijian?
That's one.
He came back.
Oh, the name of the village.
Ndaku.
He's came.
Yeah, but he's
he
been
came-
there.
Yeah,
He's been there.
Yeah. That's in Moturiki.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
White sandy beaches,
Oh.
tall coconut trees.
So
Tina Allen.
what Dad sent to me Or do you want to talk about Tina stuff first? He
Just joining in. Hey there, I'm a little late to join. Sorry if I missed the answer to the question.
It was right at the beginning, the answer to your question,
Love what
Tina.
you're sharing, Joe.
Thank you. Appreciate it. TI_Allen. Thank you for the question. We had a good conversation actually about what we're thankful for. But Corey's still thinking of his answer, so my dad just sent me this. Interesting. Okay. Look at this. On the shelf in their small town in Canada. Can you see that?
Yeah, Fiji ginger syrup.
Yeah.
It's different from
So it says organic ginger, Fiji ginger syrup.
in Canada.
Ingredients: organic cane sugar, organic ginger, store in pantry, does not require refrigeration. Okay, so Dad says, saw this in our little city of Prince Albert. Look at the ingredients: organic sugar. Haha, all sugar cane in Fiji are fertilized and sprayed. Maybe they have organic sugar in Suva. False advertising, I think. Yeah. One thing you gotta understand about Fiji and the sugar, there's nothing organic about the sugar in Fiji. I'll tell you that right now. You guys, all these like, lipoed up, big, women. What? I always just refer to them. They want the cane sugar, They want the brown raw sugar. Like everything in Canada is all about the raw sugar. And it's just like, guys, do you know, like raw sugar is like simply this, like the poor man's version of white sugar. It's the unprocessed version. And so it has a lot of chemicals in it as well. And so, like, for all this, like, oh my god, it's only raw sugar. It's like, okay, good for you. Like, I eat cooked sugar, so I don't know what you want me to say. But like, organic, that's a hoax. Organic, maybe they bring the sugar from somewhere else. Where is it made? Oh, see, made in Fiji. It has the made in Fiji sticker.
Where you staying again?
Where? In Sengaga?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, the guy Lebanon.
Oh. Where are you staying? So there you go. So there's a product made in Fiji, and it is bottled and sold under the brand The Ginger People. Do you want to look that up, Steph? The Ginger People, organic Fiji ginger syrup, made in Fiji. It's got the made in Fiji sticker on it. It's not the official one from the government. Organic, or The Ginger People. That's funny.
While you're still looking for that,
Yeah.
I got a comment here from. Let me go up. Ooh, there's a lot of comments. Wait. Mickey Johal. Turmeric grows wild in West Vitilevu Highlands, and Fiji Water Company is taking rights for it, exporting in huge volumes, and we should do it.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Live in BC, huge market here. Let's connect.
Send me an email, please. Actually, I'm serious. Send me an email to businessops@wakafarms.com. All right? Business ops, like opportunities, OPS, at wakafarms, plural.com.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm actually looking for a connect in North America, because that would change, how we do things and what we plant, and we can get people to plant, trust me.
This goes to Melis Silim Barabi as well, asking for your email address. It's, what's the email address again?
For business stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, businessops@wakafarms.com. Businessops@wakafarms.com. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mickey Joel. Kai Punjabi grew up in Gurudwara Sahib, Samobula, Fiji. My dad was the head priest there.
Oi.
That is the same guy talking about the turmeric.
Okay, in BC?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to screenshot that?
Okay.
This is a lot of the reason why we do this. Like, obviously we want to interact with people like on a different level than we just do in posts and commenting and DMs. Like, I love the lives, like, interaction. So this is fine. Like, this is fun to do with you guys, but it's also like we get these opportunities. Like, nothing might happen, probably won't happen, but like there's a chance that like we might make a connect with who? What was his name? in BC?
Mickey Johal.
Mickey Johal. You know, and do something together in the future. You never know. But if you don't do this kind of stuff, you also don't get the opportunity. So.
Boleh ave do au RM duan bilo piala buat turangan muturikin kore.
Giri.
Maria. Ya, taki.
Taki tu.
Taki, no, taki him.
You taki him.
So, question Leilani Dakuniwosa, what food do you miss the most in Canada?
What food do I miss the most? That's the one thing I don't have.
Beef hot dogs.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I miss hot dogs. Yeah. Let's go with that.
You like it raw or boiled or fried?
Barbecued, I think, or boiled?
Boiled.
Boiled, yeah. Yeah, probably on the barbecue. No, not the barbecue, over the fire, on a stick. That's the best. Yeah. Dude, I lost my mind.
When you eat
What?
No, just thinking about a stupid thing. Good story from Dakum about the pool for bathing. Awesome experience and respect the traditions and customs of the people of Moturiki. Dakum maybe
Traditional people.
Oh, yeah. That's why he's here, because he's traditional.
yeah, it's gonna be our turangan
I'm trying to change these people.
Oh, wait.
Dude, this is
do
one
it.
of the ginger products. Have you seen those? Gingins? Those are so popular.
I know. This is from those guys?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you going, buddy?
We went to the sugarcane farm.
businessops@walkerfarms.com. Hit me up. All right, we're gonna go to the line now, and we got waiting on the call. No, just kidding. What else we got here? Hello there, Wakas. I'm a young farmer based in the rural southern province of Zambia in Africa. I would like to journey with you on my farming projects. I would appreciate your feedback and opportunity to connect with you. Oh, you sent me this? Oh, this is a message. Right, join our live one day. I'd actually like to know what's planted in Zambia.
Yeah, you should come in the live.
I know, yeah.
But-
That'd be sweet. Yeah.
And for those who are listening too, if you want to join us on the next live, talk
Ooh,
about
I love this one.
business.
Yeah, yeah. I love to talk to an African farmer. There's actually a lot of similarities between certain places in Africa and Fiji. All right, Buluvinaka, can you please tell me how to stay in a healthy relationship with my husband? So I won't obviously name like the person on that one, just because there's some things that don't need names for. How to stay in a healthy relationship with your husband, man. Definitely communicating openly, prioritizing your relationship above the relationship that you have with your kids, because like a healthy marriage will lead to healthy parents, which will lead to healthy kids. And so I think a lot of things we see in the world right now are the result of like broken families, or like motherless or fatherless, more so families. And so yeah, I think serving each other, these are pretty general statements, but I think like we were saying before, like with Jesus as our example. Next time, do you think we should have the light on this side too?
Yeah.
So that, because I'm being lit from here. What do you think? Like looking in the, last time it looked a bit dark.
Yeah.
What?
Oh my God.
OCD?
Yeah.
Or ADHD?
Just concentrate
Oh,
on
butterfly.
everything.
Squirrel.
Yeah, squirrel. Yeah. Communication. What would you say, Steph? I think knowing that like sometimes you guys feel like you're fighting on different teams, but just always, coming back to the situation where you're like, same team. Like I love you. I love you more than like the argument that we're having right now. I would say being aligned religiously, like on religion, is obviously huge. Being aligned on money is obviously very big.
Maybe spending time outside of just day to day, like fun things.
Yeah, like,
Fun together.
you know how you might do like a bunch of stuff with family or spend money on like functions and stuff like that, or like just in special times? What if you do something for no reason on a Tuesday? like spontaneous, something that is out of the ordinary. Because like although like life can be lived in that manner, like sometimes catalyst events do have the chance to like refresh or to bring a new life, new love into a relationship. And so like it's the same thing like with your relationship, with our relationship with Jesus, right? Like a lot of the times it can feel like a push or a grind, and then you might go to like a conference, a church conference of some kind, right? And you just might have great music and good speakers, and like these are like these catalyst events. You come back, you're just like freaking fired up. Or a missions trip, right? And you're just like all amped up, and like that's kind of like what a random Tuesday lunch date, you know? And like let's go for ice cream might do. Even if you can't afford it, like go split something, you know, do something simple, out of the ordinary, with each other and like for each other. What would be a good question that you would ask on the kind of like date like that stuff? Like, you know, just to like have a good conversation. I mean, my default question for everybody that, you know, it's been a while since we talked, or like just to dive deep, is like, what's important to you right now and how are you dealing with it? Because that is a good question you can ask like your husband or wife. Because like you might not know, you might never have asked them that question. Like, what's important to you right now? Because like things change all the time, you know? What have you been struggling with lately, and like how can I help you deal with that?
Yeah. Or like, what are you looking forward to in the next like year?
Yeah.
Like what's something we can work together toward?
Going back to the goals, right?
Yeah.
And so like I assume that this question was asked from a position of like somebody who, can you please tell me how to stay in a healthy relationship with my husband? So like if like obviously at one point, and maybe still obviously, like you maybe have an unhealthy relationship, you want it to be better, but like I would assume that like you love your husband more than anybody else, you know, in the world. Like that's the love of your life, right? And so it's like, I heard this analogy the other day. Like if your husband was taken away from you, he died suddenly in a car accident or whatever, and he was sent to heaven up on a cloud. Just picture that he's up on a cloud. You can get him back in this analogy, right? And you have two options basically. And like the one option is like that God gives you is like you can build a tower, very high tower, to go get your husband back. Or you don't have to. And so that leaves you with the option of like asking the question, like, why me? So you can build the tower, or you can just ask, like, why? Why is it so hard? So in your situation, it's like, you can either like fight for your relationship and choose to do intentional things and take meaningful steps to move you guys forward, or you can just sit back and be like, why? Why does it have to be this tough? Why does he have to be such a dick? Why is it so hard to communicate with him? Or you can choose to fight for him and build the tower, you know, the tower that would be required to climb up to the level of love that you guys once had for each other. And you can't like keep doing the same thing, the same way we do business here. Like you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. Like if you are not happy with where you guys are, you have to think about like what you guys have been doing or what you haven't been doing, and then go and do some of those things. Do something different if you want a different result.
There's like a couple things, like if you're in a bad place, they're healthy for you to start doing. Like most people, when you're in a bad place, when that person walks the room and you don't like them, you say bad things about that person in your head, even though it's not maybe to their face, which makes you start thinking poorly of that person. So in your own head, that's where you have to start, is like when I see you, instead of going, what an idiot, I have to go, no, I married him for a reason. He's actually a smart man. Or, no, he's actually the person I love. He's not a jerk.
Yeah.
And then the other thing to start doing is, like, you can only control you. You can't control your spouse or the other person you're having a disagreement with. So you can start doing kind things or saying kind things to them. And I think the actual, like, verbalization is more important than the doing. Because you don't do that often when you're not in a great mood. So if you started saying, thank you, honey, so much for working so hard today. Our family appreciates that. That will not be reciprocated right away. And that should not be the point of it. But over time, if that person feels loved by you, it's so much easier for them to treat you in a loving way back.
Yeah.
Because they feel already loved.
Yeah.
And so if you start thinking about them in a loving manner and starting treating them with more love and care, that will eventually come back. Which
Like
brings
where
the
your
relationship.
words go, like your heart will go.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
you think about them in a good way and you say good things to them.
Mm.
Like that eventually
Will change your mindset.
It takes time though.
Yeah.
It doesn't within the first week, it will not change.
Yeah.
Within a few months.
It's like working out. Like you don't get to like think about like, oh, I just imagine myself with a six pack if you're a guy or a girl, or like imagine myself weighing less than I do right now. Like you actually have to take the action first, and then you might start to see the result. And you might change your mind about like how you feel about like the pain of like, oh, it's so painful to like compliment this jerk guy sometimes. But like if you do it over and over and over again, it's like eventually that'll be reciprocated. Eventually your body responds to the difficulty that you put it through every morning if you're working out. And then you start to see the results. And so hopefully, you know, it would be the same thing. And like I heard this great analogy from a friend once about like, you know, it was like he was actually preaching a sermon about money and like where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And so if your heart isn't in a place, he was just talking about money. He's like, why don't you put your treasure there and then your heart just might follow? So like, because if you're not putting your, like if you have a hard time like getting your heart to that position, yeah, sit up, get on camera.
I'm so sweaty right now.
Put your money there and your heart might follow. So like if you, like I just don't care about the church. I don't care about what the church does. I don't care about the decisions that the pastors and the elders make in the church. It's like, well, give all your money, all your tithe to the church, and now you have an investment with that church. And you might now start caring about like what happens at the church, what gets taught. You might actually want to be like, hey, I actually want to be a part of the Sunday school program because I put all my money here. And so the same thing with your words. Like if you just start saying those things, like your heart will follow. Like say the words that need to be said, and your heart stance, your heart position might change towards your husband.
That's
Yeah.
Very analogy. Hey, Pela, Mula.
Hey, Kai.
Like now to
I had.
How long did it take you to decide that you actually want to move to Fiji? This from Leilani Dakunibos.
Thank you, Leilani, for the question. So I guess it was, you know, we had been doing farming in Fiji for a few years. I was coming back and forth every couple months. And then one of, you know, the guys that I look up to, like I spoke at the beginning, said like, you have to come to Fiji if you want to do something. And so we had that conversation, and then we decided like, okay, we're moving to Fiji. We decided that night, right? Yeah, we went for a long drive. We looked at a bunch of expensive houses on the lakefront, and we were like, we want to come back to the city one day, but we're not going to get to the point that we want to be at living here. So we got to go and do something extraordinary or out of the ordinary to come back so we can be on the lakefront one day. Not that like that's what drives us or whatever, but we were like, this rat race is crazy. And we got kids, so like we want to get out of that. The decision was made that night. I got the email in the afternoon. The decision was made that night. Stephanie was the one who was like, well, if you want to do this, let's do this. And then it took but then the key with that is like, we then took like a year and a half to like set everything up so that we could then leave. But like the goal decision made that night. And that's how we usually operate. Is like, why don't we do this? Like, yes, that aligns with what our family values are. Okay, let's do it. But then you got to plan and make the right moves to make sure that when you execute, it's like going to actually work. So it didn't take that long once I got that email. It was like 4 or 5 hours of inner turmoil. Not very good.
Bentico, do you miss city life?
Do I miss city life? Yeah, there's certain things about city life that I miss sometimes. This sounds really weird, and this is very specific to Jonathan. I miss snow and driving around the city drifting. That's something that I used to like do a lot of, I guess.
Yeah.
And so like it would snow, the roads get slippery, and I would just go around and hoon around the city in my truck or my all-wheel drive Subaru or whatever it was. And I spent a lot of time just having fun driving, music, in the city lights, and just, yeah. I miss that. I miss low traction in the street city.
Like
at
walking
night.
downtown with a coffee.
Yeah, I miss walking downtown with a coffee along the boardwalk. We came from a really, really nice city in Canada called Kelowna. It's kind of where people go vacation, so it's very expensive to live there. But we'd walk along the boardwalk, and there's always like people busking or like people like playing instruments, like just for free, and you just like drop money into their guitar case or whatever. And just a great vibe. We just pick a bench, sit down, and just like watch people go back and forth and back and forth. And it was just like, just talking, oh my gosh, look at that car. Oh my goodness, look at my sheep. And that was just something that we got a lot of enjoyment out of. But, I say that, like, that was that part of life. And like now, we have kids. And so I think this is what's best for our kids where are the kids right now?
No
They're
idea. Sugarcane.
planting sugarcane?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they left, put on the boots, and now they went up to the sugarcane farm to be with one of my uncles who's planting sugarcane. So like, this is like an awesome life because they are having an awesome life right now. And like, city life is coming up for us again. Like, we're going to be opening a Fresh Tea and Coffee in Suva in the new year. And so it's like, city life will be coming up for us, and it will be like temporary, but it will be like a mixture. But yeah, there's definitely things like the convenience of the city is awesome, but everything costs money. Like, my kids we haven't paid a cent for them today, and they've had fun the entire day. And the entire day. Haven't really asked us for anything, and they've been just having the best time of their lives. Whereas like in the city, it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you have nowhere to run around. Like, you gotta go to a movie or go for a walk in the mall, or what are you gonna do? Yeah. So I am kind of dreading that part about going back to the city, but we'll figure it out. We always do. Yeah.
Evan, do you miss paying bills?
Yeah. Yeah. No, because for a lot of the time that we've been in Fiji, I wouldn't have been able to pay them with all of the other stuff we do. We pay bills just in a different way. So we still pay taxes in Canada. We have staff in Fiji. And in Canada. We have bills to pay in Canada still. Like, I have so many subscriptions for helping us with all the content that you guys see every day. And so...
But no rent.
Yeah, but no rent, no water, no electricity, I guess. And so, yeah, but we pay in other ways, I guess. Like, but yeah, rent free for sure. Yeah. But like, there's most people out there, they would take rent over being here. Like, not a lot of people are cut out for this, Yeah.
Did it help the decision that $1 Canadian is about $1.70 Fiji?
It didn't make a difference at all.
Well,
No, because like, why would we come here? Like, that wouldn't make sense because we want to start businesses in Fiji and spend the money in Canada. Like, we want to be there also one day, with our family, with Stephanie's side of the family, and like, some of my family's still there. And so it's like, that wouldn't make sense to come and start businesses in a country where the dollar is worth nothing. To then take it back to Canada and be like, hey, yay, 0.7. Yeah. So like, it had nothing to do with it, the currency of it all. Yeah.
I used to drive up and down Harvey Avenue after work, blasting AC/DC in my car.
No way, really? Who's that?
Norm.
Oh.
Hi, Norm.
Harvey, yep.
That's funny.
Main road, baby. Yeah, I've Norm, like my favorite was like Lower Mission and
Marmalade Cat.
yeah, probably Mission and like Glenmore area. I don't know why. I love the Mission though. Lots of like small little cafes and like lots of cars coming from the Upper Mission. Like, you just sit, if you go get a coffee at Blends on the corner and just sit there, me and my friend would just go there and just watch supercars drive by in the summer. Ferrari, Lamborghini, BMW, Porsche, and we're just like, ooh, sweet. even though we got to drive them like every day, we're still like, oh my gosh, dude, check out that Lambo. It's like, dude, you were working on the Lambo like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, we don't own it.
Yeah, but you don't own it. Yeah, that's the thing.
Wow. A lot there. Good conversation. That's good. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
We haven't even dived into our current.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good.
Happy
That's
wish
good.
Tui a happy birthday.
Oh yeah. We should wish
Hey,
to you a
come
happy
on.
birthday.
Wish.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tui. Happy birthday
What a
to
girl.
you.
Okay, well, everybody.
So long.
Thank you, Tui. Thank you for everything you do. We appreciate you very much. Bye.
Oh boy.
Emang kita? Posso buka juga? Posso buka dia juga dulu kita rapi.
Iyo, main ni. Thank you, Tui. We appreciate you, dude.
You're such a
Yeah,
Tui,
really.
man.
Yeah. Thank you for just you're not a normal person in this country.
Oh, let's talk about.
So we appreciate you.
I heard a story today, Croy, that your headphones were stolen, and you had
No,
to,
not stolen.
No.
Got lost in the taxi.
Yeah.
in the taxi, but somebody made you give the wakasulu to them.
It's just Ganesh.
I know.
Yeah.
But did you give the sulu to her?
Yeah.
Get your headphones back?
Yeah.
She got ripped off over there.
Who?
Croy.
Yeah. But he can't say anything because he's just towel over here.
Yeah, tahu. Yeah.
So they say, give me your shorts and your underwear. He has to give him shorts and underwear.
Who told you?
Somebody.
Levani, it's nice you both have a balanced level of experience, and it's nice how you both contribute by sharing your experiences. No, Adambe, what advice would you give me if I want to return to my village and do ministry and business someday?
So if you're a person who wants to do ministry and business, like what we were talking about last night, like you're probably like a socio-economic kind of businessman, where like you want to make a profit, but you also care about what it does in the community. So you're, as much as you're concerned about the economics and profitability of the business, you're also concerned that your business, makes an impact. And I'll tell you right now, like, for those of us who are like the socioeconomic type of people, it's hard. It's not easy being cheesy. It's not easy being, like, you gotta be ruthless sometimes in business, and you have to have brutal conversations. You have to let people go. Things change. People who were once right for the business eventually won't be right. You don't get to put in the same amount of work, like, at all times and get to the next level. And so some of the things that you did one time, like, it's just like business is just evolving all the time, and like it's not easy to do things in a way that, like, most people in ministry are nice guys, nice guys, and they're people's friends, and like, they're there to do the evangelism stuff, and it ends up like, okay, that guy is dishonest. That guy sucks. Like, his work ethic is brutal. Like, get out of here, man. Like, you are not who you said you were.
Yeah.
What you do for this company doesn't cut it. You're not a good fit for my team. Like, I'm sorry, but like, gotta, you have to move on. Like, I'll give you 2 weeks to go find another job. But consider this like my 2-week warning for you. That's a hard conversation for a guy who's like a really nice person, right? And so, yeah. What was this question? What advice do you give?
Yeah. So ministry and business.
Right. Yeah, so I guess, like, what is your passion? Like, so like with my dad, like, his passion is agriculture. So when it came to ministry, when we lived in Africa or in Fiji, it was all like ministry through egg, right? And so how could he do ministry and agriculture at the same time? And so that's what he did. Like, so what is your forte? Because, like our forte, say right now, is like, doing some of the media stuff. And so we've launched the media company. And so, that to me, like business and ministry are synonymous with each other. Like I can't separate like my mission, to tell people about Jesus. And it's not to force him down the throat. Like I can't do the work that Jesus needs to do in people's lives, right? But like I can make people question like, and have intentional conversation, but I can also make them question like, man, why does he do things that way? Why would, and that's what's hard about doing the socioeconomic or the I don't know what you want to call it, like the ministerial economic like version of business, is that like you want to like, sometimes you will have to choose like what would Jesus do over like what would make me more money. And sometimes, those things are, those things really bump heads, right? So yeah, what are your giftings and what are your interests, and work within those. Yeah.
Most of the things that we do now is we're just winging it.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like we're adding knowledge like every day. We're learning things. We listen to podcasts. We read books. We figure out like what's the best way to do the next thing. But like, I would say like you don't have to do like, oh, I do ministry on Friday nights and then I do business on Monday to Friday. Like make it one. Like be an impact for your employees.
You just told me not to post with Bible verses.
Yeah, just because I didn't really know how I felt about it. You want me to have that conversation live on air?
Ask people.
Oh, okay. Yeah, make it one and the same. Like impact people, doing ministry through the way you do business. I'll tell you right now, like the Muslim community, and there might be some, Islamic people watching this. Like, I was at a grand opening for Bread Bank last week? Last week.
Yeah.
And you go there, and it's like this town, Lambasa, is dominated by Muslim business owners. And you see, so I like doing this because it's not always just talking from like my perspective, but like it's very evident that like some of the disciplines and practices that they have and the things that they do result in or help them achieve. What we're going to do tomorrow, we're all waking up at 5 a.m. for prayer. He said, we don't go to sleep after our prayer. But by 5:30, 6 a.m., we're all going to be working. Wake up, make tea, and then they take the day off because it's Saturday. And so that's a case where like, even though it might not be like Christian ministry related, like what he does of like his religious practices influences the way he does business and makes me as, and then he has the opportunity to share with me about like why the disciplines that his religion of him help him to be successful. And I'm like, not like thinking I'm gonna like convert or anything, but I'm gonna like it. But I'm like, nobody else is doing it. I'm gonna do it because everybody else is gonna like sleep in. Like you don't get to do what everybody else does and get to a different point. Like I said before. And so does that make sense? Yeah. So that was a Muslim guy, but I was like that impacted me. Yeah.
Do more. Be better.
And so I'd officially like to announce that my new name. That's kidding. Okay, move on.
Nitin Raj. Oh, Bula Nitin Raj is a friend of mine from LinkedIn.
Oh, cool.
Hi, I would just like to ask for advice since currently I am in Australia. But I feel like I have to go back to Fiji and give back to my people, as I would like to join Fijian politics.
So, is he a dual citizen?
Nitin, are you a dual citizen? I feel like he is.
So he's been in Australia for a long, long time?
We're just conversing on LinkedIn.
So I know at the moment, Fijians with dual citizenship are not allowed to contest like municipal council elections.
Dual citizenship.
Dual citizens, yeah. So like myself, I can't be the
opposition. Or
The mayor of whatever town, Labasa.
Depo.
Depo, mayor of one street. So that is something that, I mean, I guess just practically thinking initially, like you have to think about, what was his question again, sorry?
I would just like to ask for advice since currently he's
Yeah.
staying in Australia and wants to come back and do politics.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's something you don't do, like all the things that maybe you're gonna get down the road and be like, oh, what if? Then you need to do everything in your power to like make sure you don't get to ask that question, because like you answered it because you did the thing, and now you don't get to ask what if, because like, well, I tried it, and man, I'm so glad I did, because it got me here, and I can almost guarantee you, like, you won't regret like the experience or like the character building that it did for you. So I would encourage you to do that. Look at yourself as your old self. So one thing that Stephanie wanted me to talk about, like, you know, where we were talking about like using, like influencing your business with, you know, ministry, was, you know, we've made some posts over the last few days, and like you guys will have seen them, and so we're like advertising some of our clothing. I feel like this is like really raw to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It's good to talk about.
Okay.
It's good to have like other people's opinion.
Okay. We have this merch, obviously, right, that we're selling. I'm explaining to you guys, like, you know, what each thing, what all the symbols mean to me, and we use a Bible verse for the last few. And then we like write, you know, we've written something that like is meaningful to us. So what did today say?
It said, it is like a photo of myself.
Okay.
And then it says, your thoughts shape your reality. Choose strength, choose resilience, choose growth. And then it's got a Bible verse, Philippians 4:8. Fix your thoughts on what is true, honorable, right, pure, lovely, admirable. Choose thoughts that align with God's words for strength and growth. So the reason, like, I'm doing all these posts. Okay, sure. Yeah, that's fine. Sorry, I'm very sweaty. This is why. It's not on camera. I'm doing all these posts, and I'm, like, just scheduling them out. And the day that I was making them, like, was putting up, like, different things of, like, different thoughts. And then I thought, you know what? These are just thoughts. These are just, like, concepts that people, like, don't have. It's just, like, a nice thing to say, like, be strong. And then it's like, well, why do that thing, right? And, like, why we do those things is because the Bible says to. Like, that's, like, the actual advice that we should be giving. So we're saying, like, be strong and be, like, confident in your mind. But how do you do that? Well, biblically, that's how you do it. And so to me, that makes sense if, like, we're going to say, like, these, like, things of advice and saying, like, choose resilience in your mind and, like, be strong. Well, the reason is this verse in the Bible. And I thought...
And by the way, go get your shirt at walkfarms.com/store.
No, but we're going to put that out anyway. We're going to put out the shirt and a quote or a thought. So why not give that thought a biblical basis? Not saying buy it because it's biblical, but here's the thought. That's why the thought is a good thought. And, like, we're advertising anyway. So why not put the Bible out there more?
Okay.
That was kind of my thought of, like, hey, we could share the gospel with this quote that I think is great, but... also maybe
sell some merch.
Well, we're going to be selling the merch anyway.
Right.
So, like, in our day-to-day posts, we don't put out verses all the time. So maybe while we sell merch, we can put the Bible out there more.
Yeah.
That was kind of like the reason why I did it. It wasn't because I thought, oh, the Bible will sell merch more. I was thinking, this quote is so irrelevant.
So irrelevant?
Yeah, the quote that I put is irrelevant. But what makes it relevant is the Bible.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I was just thinking, like, I have to put something up with these pictures. So why not put the Bible?
Right.
And, like, maybe that quote will speak to people and they'll see more, like, relevance to their life. And, like, who cares? People will only buy the shirt if they want to buy the shirt. Yeah. That's actually, like, nice. But, like, the actual more interesting thing is having people read a biblical verse and go, hey, that's why that quote makes sense. And whatever. If it doesn't make sense to them or it doesn't speak to them, or they don't want to buy the shirt, who cares? They're reading Scripture. Scripture is not the sale point. It's the connection piece of, like, the first part. And the Bible gives it relevance.
Right.
Okay, back to you.
Okay, lights and camera on me, please. Back to the Main talent? Just kidding.
Yeah.
Thank-
We would like you to be the main talent. I don't want to be that
no,
girl.
come on.
Sweaty.
Thank you for but thank you for that, because like I'm not saying that my position was fixed on this. I just felt uncomfortable, and I think this is so. I just looked this up here. So Matthew 21, there's a story that a lot of people are familiar with. Jesus walks into the temple and he's furious, and so the reason is, so let's go down here. Where is it? Okay, so Jesus at the temple. Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of money changers and the benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said to them, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. And so, yeah, I was like, are we using God's... But, so this is why it's important to actually read it, because now that I'm reading this, it was about his church, and like the physical church.
Yeah, but
The
that's
physical
different.
location, like they were turning the temple into a shopping or a supermarket. And so, there's money changers and people selling doves. So the doves were always used, or typically used, as like an entry-level purchase that you could make to go and do your sacrifices at the temple. So people would sell doves, but like it probably, gotten to a point where people were making like decent profit, like selling doves around the temple. Now in the temple, people were changing money, and people had like probably like interest they were charging, and so these guys were getting rich, just off of the sacrifices. Something that was supposed to be pure was now made into like they turned like religion, or they turned like relationship into capitalism. And they lost the meaning of what was going on. And so Jesus was like, what the heck's going on here? He just got so angry. And so I'm like, are we using scripture to sell stuff? That was my personal battle with this all. And so, but when you explain it like that, and like, no, like, why not explain the meaning behind some like stuff that has meaning to us? Like, we're going to advertise anyways. And so like, okay, make the post about the scripture and then make the post about the shirt, or just do them both at the same time.
Yeah.
And like, because that's actually what the brand means to us, and like what it represents, like Jesus at the center of all things. So you've changed my mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
There you
yeah.
go. Good.
Thank you. What's his name? Steve Chowder.
Oh,
Changed my mind.
Stephen Crowder.
Stephen Crowder.
Yeah.
Chowder.
Chowder soup.
Like, what other, like, if you see in the comments, if you guys comment, what do you guys think about that?
Mm.
Other people.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. Oh, wait, chase it. Come on.
Chase it. Chase it.
Chase it, chase it. Okay, so we had this, I don't know, I don't want to eat crunchy stuff on camera. That's annoying for people. No sound. Have you heard that?
No sound.
Yeah, people say no sound.
No, it's okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. You can see the...
Yeah? Shoot. Dad just said no sound. Okay, so there was something there was a question that we had last week, and I'm wondering if we should tackle it.
What was it?
It was I'll say the question, then we can decide whether we want to get into it or not. How do I get over it? I can't remember exactly. How to get over sexual assault.
Oh.
And I'm not the therapist, and I'm not saying that like I can give you good advice. That was just simply a question that I saw, and I feel like it's relevant for a lot of people. And so I thought maybe it's worth opening up.
Yeah, you
I don't know, like-
have something to say.
Huh? Yeah, well, I was actually thinking like, oh, like having you here, like maybe we could have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Okay, let me.
Like, I don't know. So I think it would be like we are tempted
For
to,
a person who's a victim,
yeah,
how to get over it.
yeah, how to process like the fact that you were a victim of this thing. And like, I don't know if there really is any getting over it. Like, do you think that you get over it, Stephanie?
No. I don't think there's any getting over it. I think there's like adapting to it. I think there's like forgiving yourself in the fact that like a lot of people that go through like sexual assault blame themselves for it, even though, or other people blame them for it. You know, especially like I've heard that in Fiji.
Yeah, we know people personally that
have been abused by their family members
Yep.
since they were small kids, and other people blame them for that messed up relationship because they're this female in that.
Because it's easier, it's better to blame a child than it is to, you know, victimize an adult
Apparently,
who has like,
it's insane.
yeah,
So I think like part of that like process is just realizing like that's out of your control. You know, talking about it, forgiving yourself for it, even though there's nothing to actually forgive yourself for because you didn't like ask for that situation to happen. I think that's something that like you have to be able to forgive yourself in the sense of like that happening to you and realizing there's nothing that you could do. It's just something that happened to you that you were not a willing participant in. And I think like something that happens a lot in Fiji is people brush it under the table. I hear this all the time, is like there's so much shame around it that people would rather not make more of a drama. They'd rather just allow it to continue and sweep it under the rug. I think that's really hard because then it continues to happen, not just to yourself or the person that you know of. It continues to happen to other people. And I think that's pretty like messed up. Like when I was younger, I got sexually assaulted by a guy, and like it's so weird because I remember him saying to me like I was out partying, I was drunk, and he took me home and sexually assaulted me. He didn't have sex with me, but I remember I was really drunk and I was saying no, like stop. And he told me, he said, what did he say? He said like he said you're so lucky it wasn't my buddy because he would have raped you. And I remember thinking like, ooh, it was really hard for a long time to kind of go like, well, I did it to myself in the sense of getting so drunk to be taken advantage of, but I never did ask for that to happen. You know, he knew I was drunk, and so that's what he decided to do. And I was just fortunate in the sense of like, it didn't go a good place, but it could have gone worse, right? But that happens to a lot of women, and like, and then it goes worse for them. But then like to deal with the fact that like that happened unwillingly, right? That's kind of like hard for people mentally to get over. And like, and people will also go like, wow, you put yourself in that situation.
So how did you process that? Like, so if you're talking to somebody who's recently been sexually assaulted, like from your own experience, like how did you deal with it initially? Because I'll get to like how we worked through it. I didn't know that you were going to be willing to open up that way.
No.
Right.
I'm just trying to think. Like, I think mostly I was annoyed. Like
At yourself.
At myself for like letting myself get that drunk, or like going out with people. Actually, part of it was like I was mad I went out with people that didn't have my back. Because typically, like, you know, people that party or go out, you should go out with people that take care of you. If you're an idiot that night, you should go out with people that make sure you go.
And it's Friday.
Them.
Like there is somebody watching this right now that is planning on like going out and getting stupid tonight. Yeah, tonight.
Yeah.
To know.
Well, and we have relatives here that, or people that we know that have gone out and have been taken advantage of sexually, and they didn't know their limit with an alcohol, or they got drugged. And I think like that's something that like is quite common. People, you know, don't know their limits, which I didn't, and then bad things happen, and nobody's there watching out for them. And I think like the aftermath of that is kind of like probably like hate in the sense of like, oh, I can't believe I like let that happen, or like you feel like gross. But like for me, I guess like it could have gone worse for me. And for me, I'm like, okay, I look at it like, I don't know, I have a good mental space. Like my parents taught me, like, we talk about things. I know how to figure out my emotional state. So I never just like shoved it in and just kept it like bottled up. I talked to my sister about it. I talked to you about it.
And like we're having this conversation now. Like I didn't know that I wasn't gonna push you to that. But like, we're not doing this to like get more views or whatever. Like, it's like hope this helps somebody
Yeah.
who has actually gone through it. Like, I get no joy that like we share this kind of stuff publicly, but like it might just help one person. And so like if you are that one person who's experienced something like this, like maybe this will help.
Well, it's also
And, like,
something
so-
not to feel shamed about, in the sense of like I talk about it because I'm not shameful about it anymore. Like I used to feel shame about it, in the sense of like you kind of feel ownership or like that was so like me, it's on me. But I think like the longer you process it, if you process it in the right way, in like a
But-
healthy way, you can realize like, yeah, I did a dumb thing. So there is ownership on my behavior, in the sense that I put myself in that vulnerable position. But I never did ask for that, right?
So one of the things that we always talk about is like one of the key things for leadership, and usually it's in reference to business, is like being able to take ownership. So before we move on to that though, I'll ask you that after. I had a message come in from Dad actually, and he said, I think you need to clarify what is abuse and assault.
Well, I guess
So I guess we're just talking about sexual assault.
I would say
think.
sexual assault.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Like,
Just so everybody, I didn't know that was going to be something we needed to
clarify.
but I
would
get
say
it. It makes
sexual
sense.
assault is something where like someone is touching you in an unwanted sexual way. It doesn't matter what that is. If someone is touching you in a sexual way that is not welcome, that is sexual assault. I think that's the basics of it. I don't think like details
Like
are
without
needed.
consent.
Without consent.
Yeah.
Like if you are saying no to that person and they're still touching you, or you didn't ever say to them like this is wanted, then that's sexual assault. Especially like as an adult, that can look a little bit different, I would say. If like you're flirting and whatever and someone touches you without saying yes, well like that's not too like no, I say like if they slap your butt in a club. Yeah, that's sexual assault, but like it's probably not going to be the most traumatizing thing. You say like get away from me and like you move on from that. But if it goes further than that, with you not asking for it, that is like definitely sexual assault. And I would say with a child, anything sexual is, regardless, even if they said yes, because they can be mentally manipulated, that's sexual
Yeah.
assault. If you are touching a kid in any way, that's sexual assault and is very inappropriate.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like in regards to that, like with our own kids, like we taught them like body parts of like men and women, so they can say with honesty, if I say, did someone touch you inappropriately, that they can say,
Did they touch your this? Or did
Yeah.
they make you touch their this?
and like I think it's good to be able to say the words like penis and vagina, because if you say like hoo-ha, maybe you're kind of like, are we sure we're talking about the same thing? Like if you say like, did they touch your hoo-ha? And they're like, yeah. You're like, but did they?
It's like anything in life, like I think, you know, if you remove the shame from it, like it becomes something that can help them and help other people.
Well, and it is just a body part, just like your eyes are.
Yeah.
Well, you should be able to name the rest of your body
Yeah.
without like a deep cringe. You know?
Eye and the whispering eye. You know?
That's still a nickname.
Okay.
Elephant.
Elephant. Hey, thank you, elephant. So, what was I going to ask you?
I don't know.
Ownership.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, it's not your fault. You need to acknowledge that, like, you can't blame yourself. But, like, we talk about, you know, owning things. Like, what is the form of ownership in a situation where you've been sexually assaulted?
Well, I think like as an adult, I think like in my situation, I was out clubbing with my friends. We got excessively drunk. And then I got taken home by a guy, which I was blacked out. I didn't remember this. That I didn't want to go home with. I never slept around. That's not something I did. And so I know for myself in that situation that like I can take ownership of the fact that I got so drunk that I didn't know I went home with somebody. You know,
Right.
that's not really something that I can put on him and say like, oh, he got me so drunk. No, I made those choices for myself, right? And so to make those choices, you do put yourself in a risky situation. You're an adult. You're making choices for yourself, and some are more risky and some are less risky. Getting blackout drunk is more risky,
Yeah,
right?
especially as a girl. in
Especially
strange
as a girl.
places.
And going out with friends that they don't have your back, right? Like normally when you go out as a girl, at least the people I've been out with, you kind of make a pact of like, we come together, we leave together.
Yeah.
Right? You don't go to the bathroom alone. You don't leave your drinks unattended. There's rules to going out and partying. And so in that case, I got kind of bailed on, and I was making terrible decisions and got horribly drunk. And in that case, it ended up in a guy taking me home, touching me in a way that I didn't want to be, and telling me that I was so fortunate that he didn't rape me, because anyone
His
else
friend
he knows would have loved to. You know, that's pretty messed up on like life scale, but it could have gone way worse. And to me, I look at it like, wow, I'm very fortunate, and I will not be an idiot and ever do that again, right? And like, I was 18, I was being stupid, but I think like in hindsight, at least like I didn't come out on the worst. I know lots of women that have had way worse experiences, and I think there's a lot of guilt surrounding those kind of things. And I think like as an adult, it's so different than like a child, right? In a child situation, none of that is their responsibility at all, because they're a kid, and they actually shouldn't have to take any responsibility for that. And the family should take responsibility for protecting that kid.
Yeah, I think like when you're a child, like you're not the leader of your life.
No.
Like you are at the mercy of your parents, or whoever's raising you. And so I think the ownership needs to be taken by the parents.
Yeah.
And that's your job as a leader.
And like taking ownership means removing that danger from your kid, making decisions that keep your child, out of those dangerous areas, that vulnerability. And the scary thing is, statistically, most sexual assaults with children are from family members.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So that's the one thing that you guys, like, people that have, like, look at this, not just like, oh, it's just family. It's like, actually, the only people that you should be able to trust with your children should be like you and your husband, number one, and then you or your husband get to vouch for your parents. I'll vouch for my parents, you vouch for your parents, because they raised us and we had to experience them as children. And so I would say, like, that close circle of like, my mom and dad are safe, your mom and dad are safe, we are safe. Outside of that, or like, and your siblings, possibly, right? Because they now have spouses, probably, outside of that. So you kind of actually, even with your siblings, have to be more careful, because they brought someone from the outside in.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Yeah, and I trust all our siblings, but I'm just saying, like, within, like, the boundaries of things, they now have someone that wasn't someone you grew up with.
Yeah.
So you can't fully vouch for them, right? So you have to have kind of like those, like, guards of like, I fully trust my husband. That's fine. My parents, sure. Beyond that, let's tiptoe a little bit and keep them safe.
Yeah, and I guess like expanding on that conversation, like we might be going down a rabbit trail now. But like there's also, conversations that you have to have, like, what are the things that we want to take from your mom and dad? What are the things that we want to take from my mom and dad? And I definitely don't want to take that. Or I definitely don't want to take, you know what I mean? And those are hard conversations to have as like a young, these conversations should be had before you get married, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the traumas that you might have from like the way your parents raised you? And like some of the things that, like, I know personally, some of the things that like impacted or should have been traumatic to me would have been traumatic for Steph. They would have been. They were not for me. And so I was like, I don't mind, implementing that form of parenting when I raise my kids. And she's like, no, we will not be doing it like that. And so, okay, like that's a battle like I don't have to win. But, it's just, it's some things. And I think that's where, Dad is saying, like, let's clarify like what abuse is and stuff like that. And that's a very touchy subject nowadays too, right? When it comes to like with kids. And so I think that's why we're sticking to sexual abuse.
Yeah. I think like that's a whole nother topic, what abuse is in general.
Yeah.
Versus what sexual abuse is.
And let's just stick to sexual abuse.
I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So I think like within Fiji, something like that's I think relevant here that I've talked to a lot of women about is just like when you have sexual abuse, if it's towards you or kids or anything, like it needs to be something that people start talking about and that people start kind of condemning the perpetrator for, because it's very like nobody's pointing fingers of when they know 100% in the community this is happening, and so it just keeps happening to other people, and we create more victims in that way. And I think even as a community, if you can't go as far as like the police and making a report, I think within your own family that person needs to be shunned. I think that person needs to be like removed from your family circle to bring like safety.
Oh, dude,
you know,
rot somewhere, man.
Yeah. I think that's something that people don't do enough of here. And I'm just saying that based off of the women that have talked to me about this. And I think I think it's just sad to see that families don't rally around each other and the victim and say like, hey, that wasn't good. And like that person has to go. You know, by the bare minimum, that person has to leave our community.
Yeah.
You know, I just think I'm like, that could be done a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, one of the girls that we knew, she was called a house wrecker because she'd been sexually assaulted since she was young. And people,
Crazy.
She was becoming a teenager, and people were saying that she was tearing that man's family apart.
Because he was sexually assaulting her
Since she was very young.
Very young.
And people were claiming that she now was the house wrecker.
That's so dumb.
It's so dumb.
That's crazy, eh?
Yeah. And I think, like, it's easy to blame...
So if it happened to her, it's happening to somebody else.
Yeah.
In Fiji, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, like, when I heard about that, I was just like, that's sick. Because, like, she's been mentally manipulated by an older man since she was so young to teach her to fall in love with him, because that's the only form of love that she's known. And then people were blaming her for that. And, like, that wasn't a healthy relationship. So that relationship needed to be parted and broken, but it wasn't by shaming her. It should have been by shaming him and throwing rocks at him until he left. Like, I don't see how he got off scot-free and she got penalized by her community and shamed.
We need to bring things into the light. I think that's how you fight the darkness.
And not to say, like, we talk about women because I'm talking about it, but I've heard lots of sexual abuse stories about young boys, and it's not something that we should, you know, just not be aware of, because with my own children, we are cautious with them. And interestingly enough, I think we should talk about this. At Seven Isles, one of the, I won't name what it was, the boys went to some sort of party somewhere. It was to do with, you know, some sort of celebration that they'd been participating in. There was adults there supervising. Our nanny had gone with them. It's somewhere they went all the time. And they were not sexually abused, but they had a very odd experience where some older boys were asking them, oh, are you circumcised? And something like that. Like, can you show me your penis?
Yeah, this is boy stuff.
Well, it's just boy stuff, but...
No, I'm not playing it off. I'm just saying, like, yeah, that's like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised, you know?
But
like, it's not appropriate.
But it's interesting to me how, like, that was a very supervised area. That adults were there, our nanny was there, but somehow, like, this weird kind of uncomfortable, not cool situation happened. And I was so mad. I haven't been that mad. Like, I was so mad. Like, I just wanted to go over there and freaking rage on people. No, but it's weird. It's weird that they're going to an organized event and they're coming home, like, upset and being like, Mom, I felt bad. That was awful.
It's interesting because, like, as a man, or at least me, I'm like, it's almost like a rite of passage, or like it's so normal that, like, I don't even think about condemning it. It's
but
like,
don't
dude,
you think that's
show me
messed
your
up?
dick. It's like, all right.
That's weird. That's so weird.
I mean, I don't do that anymore, just to be clear
Or
with
I
you
hope
guys.
you've
But,
never
like,
done it.
huh? No, like with, like, cousins or friends and stuff like that, there's some weird things that happen, and, like, your boys, and, like...
Yeah, okay,
like,
that's fine, like, if you're, like, peeing or something.
Yeah.
But to be, like, have older kids in a group saying, hey, pull down your pants so I can see your penis, that's weird. That's
everybody's, like, exiting the live, like, oh, shoot, exit.
But also, like, where's the adults in that situation? Where's the grown-up? Where are the people that are supposed to be overseeing them stepping in and making sure that everybody's doing okay?
Yeah.
I'm like, I was a little mortified because we sent our kids with supervision, that they had multiple adults there that were supposed to be overseeing. What were they doing? Were they just sitting drinking kava where the kids were just gone and nobody knew what they were doing?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a little bit...
Like right now. I'm just kidding. The kids are right there. They're climbing the
Yeah,
tree.
they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
I'm just like, piggyback on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give it. Can we turn the camera on?
No, it's fine. But like, if if anybody who's listening in and know that you've been a victim in going through, sexual abuse and all those things. I know it's difficult to talk about these things because everybody's related to everyone.
Yeah. Yes.
And you feel, that shame or like you don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
It'll come right around.
Yeah.
And whoever's sexually abusing you will know. So just know, like, there's helpline in Fiji that's there. If you can't reach out to anybody that you think you can't trust, there's a helpline and an organization called Fiji Women's Crisis Center.
Yeah.
And you can reach out to them. They're 24 hours at any time of the day, night. They're trained counselors will be available to talk with you. And there's
Like if I have something that I want to talk about, like if I'm a woman at like 2 a.m, I can call this number.
You can call them.
Cool.
Even if you're afraid of like telling like who you are, you can make up a name. Make up a name and just like
Yeah, that's right.
just tell your story and what you're going through.
Yeah.
The helpline number is 331-3300. So
331-3300.
yeah.
331
At any time of the day or night.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
that's
think
awesome. Thank you.
that is
That's
a
great.
really great resource. And if you have a close friend that you ever feel comfortable enough talking to, I think you'd be surprised at the people that have gone through similar experiences that you have or can relate to you in that. I think sometimes like having someone that you can confide in life is really
Oh
important.
gosh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think it helps your mental state. Like, I think it's great to start if you're scared with people that you don't know. And then I think if you can have the confidence to broach this subject, that's really important. And for me, I think we talk about it because, like, I think as someone that has had some sort of experience in that area, that, like, when younger people experience it and they feel shame around it, like, you as an older person that have worked through that should be opening up that topic. You should be having conversation about that because you can, and people can say to you, wow, like, I can relate to that. On some level, someone else has experienced that, and maybe they'll feel more confident in saying, like, okay, you can talk about it, so can I.
Yeah.
And I know other ladies that have had horrific experiences that
Yeah,
are
way worse than yours.
so much worse. Like, mine's, like,
That's not what you're saying. Is like you've experienced the worst of the worst.
No.
You've had.
I'm just saying, like, whatever it is, like, if you have worked yourself through it, if you open up to other people, people need that. People need someone that they can talk to, and if you're that person that can do that for them, that's beautiful. And, like, I think you'd be surprised at how much appreciation people have for someone that can talk openly about that, which is so rare within Fiji. So I think, like, the women that can, they should.
That's your job as a mentor, as an elder, is to pass on the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Okay.
as a parent.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Many.
Dad, 58 male, is wanting to build a house for my 93 female in the village.
Okay.
How do you go about asking people to help? It's been hard in the past because people always expect to be fed and sheltered, transported to and from, and paid in money to help in projects like these. Where do we draw the line, especially when Nai is everyone's Nai?
Oh, like that's everybody's grandma?
Yeah.
I would say you don't pay them. Like, to me, like, if it's like, okay, we're cousins, and like your grandma is building, I'm still gonna go build for free and like feed us.
Yeah.
But like, if it's your grandma, go build the house. Like, maybe as a courtesy, I'll feed you. But like, it's also your grandma. That's your obligation to take care of her. Like, you can't ask to be paid for that.
I think it is need to have like a clear conversation, with your family, because, just to say like, to outline like what is the vision and mission of this project, like you would with a business, like, the vision is that we build this house for Nai. The mission is that we would do it together in a way that like doesn't split us apart. So like the vision being where we want to get to, the thing we want to achieve, and the mission being like how we're going to do this. So like in order to work together, like he's paying for the house.
Yeah.
This guy. Okay, guys. Who else wants to pay for the house? That's what I would literally say. I would sit everybody down or in a Zoom call or whatever. Who wants to pay to build this house? See who raises their hand. Okay. Oh, I don't see anybody who wants to pay for the house. Okay, I'll pay for the house. All right. Okay. Who wants to be in charge of the carpentry? Well, obviously, so and so, whatever your name is, Soko. You're the carpenter, right? Say that's his name. So he'll be the carpenter. Anybody else can build the house? Anybody else have skills in building? No. He's the one. Okay, he's doing the building. Who can go and bring the food? You bring the food, okay? And so like everybody just has to have like a role.
Yeah.
And you have to just sit down with everybody and just be very clear. Like if this is going to be like a family thing, if not, I would say outsource it. Get some guy who's not related to your family at all to come. Oh yeah, it's just like a, there you go. Got it?
Yeah.
Get somebody who's not related to you at all and have him stay with you, with them, or pay for his transport to come in every day. Or just ask him what his charge is and get him to do the whole thing and leave your family out of it. And then nobody else can take credit for who built the house.
Just you.
But if we're going to do this as a collective group, we're going to do this as a collective group. And that means like asking people these questions. What is, who's going to pay for the house? Probably not going to get many show of hands. That's how I would do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, good on you. And that would be difficult. But like, you need to understand we don't need to know the name. That just because you're the one who might have the financial backing or the means financially to do this does not mean that you have to provide for everybody. Everybody here has all the opportunity in the world. Like, I have people just this week who came and last week asked me for 1 bag of cassava. This week asked me for another 2 bags of cassava. And I said, well, actually, I want to save some of the cut. This is very relevant because I'm actually going through this. I said, actually, you know what? I'm trying to save the cuttings so that I can replant it. So can you just take 1 bag of cassava this week, please? And they actually ended up taking 2 anyways in the end. But, here, Steph rolls her eyes.
Wow. John got weak in that moment.
No, I went down the road and I was like, oh, there's 2 bags.
Oh, they just took it.
Yeah,
okay, there you
just
go.
pulled it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we won't blame you. Sorry, honey.
Yeah. And so, like, people say, like, oh, you have all the opportunity, you have all the money. It's like, no. I'm here and everybody has the same access to all the cassava stems that we had after the hurricane. We all could have planted cassava. But I did and you didn't. So I shouldn't have to pay the price for the fact that, like, you chose to, like, sit on your hands, all day.
Yeah.
For the last couple of years, and now you have to ask me for cassava. That's actually like, well, so when I say no, or like, I'm doing this and you're going to do that, you shouldn't feel ashamed for that. Because chances are the people who, might be saying that you have to do this and do that because you have all this money or whatever, wouldn't be able to make it like you have in the position that you're in. Because a lot of people don't make it overseas. And a lot of people they might make it, but they just skim by their whole life. And so the fact that, like, you've gotten, sir, to the point where, like, you can afford to, like, pay for your grandma's house to be built, like, just the supplies alone, put away the labor and all that kind of stuff, the furnishings, but just to, like, build a house out, that's really, really cool and really special. And don't let your family ruin it. Like, your role is to pay for the supplies of the house. It seems like you need to lead your family in the direction of, like, telling each person what they need to do. And, like, what do you think? Okay?
What do you think?
Like, if he's gonna build a house, what do you think, Jorge? Like, if he's gonna pay for the building of the house, then everybody else can help in another way.
Yeah, like for us in my village.
Yeah.
It's not like if we just building like me, for example.
Yeah.
If I build a house for my grandma.
Because you've done lots of helping with building, right?
like I just take the first step. I start. I can just go and ask one of my cousins or father or uncles, who's a carpenter. Can you build my grandmother's house?
Okay.
I have no money like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Then when he started building, it will be like only him and me. And by the end of the day, it will be everyone in the village helping.
Helping.
We'll just provide like lunch like that, and tea, afternoon tea.
Yeah.
After that, drink grog. Go.
Yeah.
Then the next day, when we start building again, then
More
everybody
people.
will be there.
Yeah.
Just the starting.
Yeah.
We'll be building the house till it finishes. They don't want to get paid or anything.
Yeah, right.
They're just there to help.
So it seems like this family's mentality is like a little bit different, eh? Like they all.
Because here, there's
No, there's this
here.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Huh? Yo.
Eh?
No.
Yeah, because him in the village, I think they have a lot of money there.
Hey.
No, like one village in Moturiki, it's a different story. Like after Winston, like this guy want to build his house, and he use blocks.
Oh, okay.
And like his village, the tides there, only some tide reach the shore lines, but others, no, it's very far from the shore. So when he brought his building materials, and it was low tide, so he have to unload it in the
far away.
Far away. And then he asked them if they can help him carry it, and they told him, if you pay us, then we'll carry your stuff to the village. And he ended up carrying it alone. The blocks, the timbers, the cement.
Wow. So what was that like for the that's like embarrassing, eh?
For contour.
Yeah. That's like humiliating.
If you want help, you should have lots of money. You have to pay everyone who helps you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. For community, that we do communal things together.
Yeah.
You know, and like everybody's related.
Yeah.
I guess like with the society now, everyone wants money. But like to take advantage of your own relatives like that, like
It's inappropriate.
yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't feel right.
So if you have the means, like usually rule of thumb in Fiji, I like put up my thumb when I said rule of thumb, is like labor cost is 20% of the materials cost. So if you spend like $50,000 on all the materials for the house, like your labor should cost you 10,000. So that will give you a bit of like a outline, like how much is it worth, like maybe potentially damaging your family with like harsh conversation, or just being like, all right, these people, they won't get any other credit, that's all. I built the house. And then you just go find your own carpenter. For probably should be cost you around 20% of the cost of the building materials.
I think, like, in my personal opinion, I think it's better to have the hard conversation. I think, like, it is better for your family's bonding. I think it's better for your family's mentality. I think, like, if you can have the hard conversation and it goes the way it should, that'll benefit everybody in the long run.
Bongi.
If it doesn't, then pay somebody, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're not there for you. They're not there for your grandma.
Bula.
So move on.
Do you go swimming with Major?
No, it's too dark, guys. Sorry. No, it's too dark.
It's a bit too dark,
You
okay?
waited too long.
Can you please go put your boots away in the right place? Okay. Hopefully that answered that question.
And sorry, I ran away because Tui's birthday cake was burning, so I had to go save it.
What?
I didn't make dinner, but I did make you a cake.
Are we gonna, is it gonna be ready for the live?
No,
Oh,
it has to
shit.
cool.
Oh,
It's like,
shit.
it's way too
Mom, we're
long.
gonna eat cake.
Yeah, it's Tui's birthday, man. What?
Okay, any other, there must be some more questions.
No.
No?
Say happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank you, buddy.
Okay, guys.
Happy
we're still doing
birthday
the
to
live.
you.
You can
Just this guy.
show me.
Sally Kabili Samani. We love Office Boy. Watching from Payson, Utah, United States.
That's awesome.
It's Thanksgiving here in America.
That's right. That's right. We have some American friends, actually a pastor of our church, new church plant, and they are going to be doing American Thanksgiving celebration on Sunday. I
It's
think.
gonna
Yeah.
be a feast.
Feast, and you're gonna
So
miss
we're
it.
Canadian, and we don't celebrate Thanksgiving on the same date.
Mm.
But John and I haven't had Thanksgiving in like 4 years.
Yep.
And I can't wait. And somebody has a can of cranberry sauce, and I will die for that. That's gonna be so good.
Well, is that it?
I think so.
Okay, Taki, one last time. I hope that we answered some of your guys' questions. I know we didn't actually address any current events at all today. It was all just like conversation, which was actually super fun.
Oh, and in the podcast coming up, I know there was a video out about the medical system. Thank you. I'm good. Really?
Mm.
Bula.
Mode.
Ugh, this is not for me.
What's Thanksgiving? Oh, that one.
Thanksgiving is thanks.
Mother.
It's
Mode.
thanks and giving.
Oh. No, it's actually like a tradition in North America when people were settling in the country that they would all get together
Thank you,
as people and just like thank God for what they had
Mother, everybody.
and have a big party celebrating that. I think it was typically, I could be really wrong, but I think it was typically after the harvest season, and they would get together and have a big celebration. So.
Yeah. All right, guys. We love you very, very much. You can catch us here Monday at 4:30. We do these on the mats. We call it on the mat because it started off on the mat, and so that's just what we call this segment. So, thank you for putting up with our production quality. We got better audio equipment on the way.
It's coming.
It's coming from overseas. If you guys want to get the Sulu or grab the t-shirt, you can just hop online, check out our apparel at wakafarms.com/store. Thank you, Koroy. Appreciate you. Thank you, Tui. Happy birthday tomorrow. Yeah.
Birthday tomorrow.
you.
Tomorrow, he's an old man.
It starts today and ends tomorrow.
Yeah.
My birthday starts today and ends tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, he's only young for tonight, so.
And thank you for sharing.
What's the
Yeah,
time?
appreciate it. Yeah. Means a lot.
How many times?
So we'll catch you guys on the next go around. Stay tuned for any updates. If you guys need media stuff, you know, like obviously the weddings and the funerals and stuff like that, obviously we're doing that. But if you're an NGO and you need, you know, somebody to tell the world about the why. Like everybody is like, hey, this is what we do. This is the thing that we do. And it's like, well, why do we do it? You guys know that we tell our story and that we're good at telling stories. So let us tell your story.
And I will say that one cup of kava, it's from Sangani, and my tongue is paralyzed and numb
It's crippling
already,
your mouth.
Expect our new vlog tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be uploading the next vlog tomorrow, which is Diwali and going through the cyclone, and you know, just preparation because it wasn't much of a cyclone. And yeah, stay tuned to the YouTube for that. In the meantime, we'll catch you guys next Monday at 4:30 on the mat. My name is Jonathan. This is my wife Stephanie. We're known as the Waka family. Thank you guys for joining, and we'll catch you next time. Peace.